The following Toku Podcastu contains spoilers from both past and present tokusatsu, anime, manga, movies and other related media. If you do not wish to be spoiled, we suggest turning off the podcast now. Otherwise, please enjoy the show.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Tokusatsu Podcast. It's the best show about tokusatsu you probably never heard of. That's Jay.
I don't have any funny jokes. I was going to make a joke about COVID and comic books, but I couldn't think of anything on the spot.
COVID didn't kill comic books. Comic books always sucked.
That is true, yes.
That's Phil.
So we've had a talk about this, and we are officially changing our name to the Lovekov Podcastu, and we're talking nothing about Lovekov.
Who the fuck allowed you to talk?
Phil, when you said you were about to have an announcement, I thought you were about to, come out as, gay or something like that, which I don't know why I always think that, because it's just...
So, another year, another writer show, another year of us coming to you, telling you if it's good or not, because everybody else on Twitter apparently hates this fucking show to the high heavens.
I don't know why.
Because I've seen people say this is worse than Saber. Unironically worse than Saber, and I'm like, what the fuck?
How is this worse than
Saber? Come out of?
Let's just get right down into it, shall we? Because I feel like we're going to have a lot to say about a lot of things. So, Kamen Rider Revice. Jay, tell us about Red Pill, the Kamen Rider.
The short version goes like this. So, actually, you know what? There are three different origin points that I can start with. Okay, so this is just a universe where hell and demons are a known thing that exist. That's just commonplace knowledge, I guess, that demons are real and that everybody has a demon inside of them. You know, like a little series called Devilman or Shin Megami Tensei, whatever your flavor of nerd is. So 50-something years ago, in the middle of nowhere, these guys find a weird stamp that is apparently inhabiting the spirit of some ancient demon god something or other, named Gifu, or Gif if you're a weirdo, or Jif if you're an asshole. So a bunch of cultists, terrorists, both, are trying to release people's demons for reasons that are never really explained.
Yep.
And there is a secret government organization that exists to fight demons, which again is just common knowledge. It is just an everyday fact that nobody ever really stops to think about. But then again, this is a universe where every other single Kamen Rider exists, so I guess this is just common everyday existence for them, I suppose.
Isn't it technically that it's not that they exist, it's more that I was told by Chad that apparently this is not that they exist, it's just that George knows of the TV show. It's not really explained, I'm going to be honest.
It's never explained. In early promotional stuff, they implied that it was a world where all the writers existed, but since we never see any, and because there are copious amounts of Kamen Rider merch in the show, I am going to assume that it is just a universe where Kamen Rider is a TV show, which is fine with me. That's a fine way to get around it. Anyways, so there is this secret quote-unquote government organization that exists to fight these evil demon cultists, which is just common knowledge and everybody knows about them. Meanwhile, mostly disconnected from that plot is our protagonist, Iki Igarashi, who is he's kind of a, not necessarily a dweeb, but they describe him as a busybody. He's very nosy. He's very he puts himself into everybody else's problems because he just wants to be nice, and he's annoying about it.
Yes.
He, by sheer power of coincidence, comes to be aware of his own demon named Vice. Real smart naming there. Bravo, Kinoshita. So on the day that the government task force Phoenix announces that they're going to create their own brand new Kamen Rider in real life to fight the cultists, who are called the Deadmans. Yes, that is plural, by the way. I don't know why they pluralized it, but it's, whatever. Due to shenanigans, Iki becomes the one he becomes their new Kamen Rider, and his demon, who he forms a contract with to help him fight, becomes his sidekick, basically. So Iki as Revi and Vice as Vice team up to fight the Deadmans and stop them from doing whatever the fuck it was that their plan was again. I think it was to revive their god or something.
Yes.
They never really explained what the hell the Deadman's end goal was, really, but we'll get to that.
It was literally just to revive GIF.
Yeah.
What was going to happen afterwards? Who fucking knows?
Yeah, this show changes plots every
7
10 episodes or so.
It literally has multiple
it's hard to
arcs.
describe the show because that would just be describing every single story arc.
Well, let's get to the characters because then we can get to everything else. So let's start with Iki. And I think I'm going to let Jay start with this because I think he has a bit more to talk about it than I do.
Iki is... He's a very interesting protagonist. He's not really... I can't really think of anybody that we've had before that he's similar to. I think the closest is probably Eiji in the fact that he's just a good boy who wants to be good and keeps involving himself in everybody else's drama because he just wants to help.
Can you kind of compare him? Because he is a mixture of people. He's not comparable to just one, but he's a mixture of people. I've noticed this in the show that...
Sorry.
Well, hold on. I noticed this in the show that a lot of things and a lot of characters and a lot of stuff are mixtures of things. Iki, I saw the Eiji part, but I also saw a lot of Kenzaki from Blade. Because he is just a good guy. He doesn't have anything more than he's a good guy. He's a good boy. He wants to be a good boy. And I'm seeing both at the same time. I don't know if that's what he was going for, but that's how he came off to me. Like, he's a mixture of both of those guys.
That is a fair assessment. Yeah, I was going to say he's the most comparable to AJ.
Edgy.
But, well, O's did get edgy, but we'll save for that for later. He's the most comparable, but it's not 100%, is what I was going to say. He's the closest comparison that I can come to. With AG, AG's motives were different.
Yes.
Iki was definitely what's the best way to phrase it?
I'd almost want to say that I would almost want to say he's kind of the opposite of AG, where AG was like, I'm only going to protect the people that I can reach, and Iki's more like, I want to just help everybody. You know what I mean? He's pretty much the opposite.
Good comparison where AG was overly optimistic, but he was also somewhat realistic in his mindset for a majority of the show. Whereas Iki, kind of from the out, it actually starts... I think, honestly, it's probably a bit different, because early on, he's definitely very much, I am going to save everybody everywhere, and then as the show goes on, it kind of pares down more to... This is kind of my immediate family's problem and related friends, and so that's who I'm going to focus on. Mm-hmm. For the most part, again, it's hard to really strictly compare the two.
Yeah, because like I said, he's a weird mixture of a lot of what we've already seen before, but the way Kinoshita does it, and you're going to see this a lot with a lot of the other characters, he really just picks very, very specific traits from everybody and puts them into him. That kind of really does make a completely new character. And honestly, if we're going to get down to what we think of him, I like him. I kind of do like Iki. I don't know. There's something about him that I can't really find major faults in. I'm just like, you know what? You're a good dude. I can't hate you. You're a good dude.
You can't really hate him. You really can't. He's honestly a good character. He does the right thing, and he'll help you no matter what. He'll basically, even if you're the biggest scum of the earth, if you are the person that he loves, he'll help you. And that's an admirable trait in a hero.
Yeah, he's very noble in that regard. And it's very endearing that he has that range, I guess is a good way to put it, where, and not necessarily just in his personal motives, his kind of overall character has a lot of range, where sometimes he'll be kind of a goofball and a cornball, like closer to like a Gentaro or a little bit of a Shotaro. And then sometimes he'll be more serious, like we get like some of our older, not necessarily Showa, but like early Heisei Showa-esque, where he's very, your kind of ideal hero, I guess.
Yeah, well, like when the chips are down, you do what you need to.
Yeah, and then sometimes he's a bit of an asshole. He's a bit of a prick sometimes. Usually, mostly involving Vice, who is basically it's very much the classic Bokeh Tsukomi routine with those two, where whatever Vice is doing, Iki is usually the opposite. And that affords him a lot of range as a character. And it's very interesting because we haven't really seen that a lot before. A lot of characters in Rider are usually one or the other. And the few times they've tried before where they're swapped between are either horribly inconsistent, like, say, Build, or... I don't want to go for the low-hanging fruit and say,
or they just give it up.
Yeah, where they kind of.
Well, I wouldn't say low-hanging fruit, by the way, but I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that like it's a low-hanging fruit. I would say it's pretty spot on, because they do kind of give up certain parts of that personality with Gaim, and with Iki, he's very consistent. Like that's the word of the day. That's going to be the word of the day with this podcast. It's consistent. And Iki is very consistent. Where he, if anything, I'll almost say, again, keep this word in mind, I'll almost say he's almost realistic, where he treats everybody with a certain amount of, like, he treats everybody differently. He acts differently with his family than he would with Vice. He acts differently with Phoenix than he would with his family, and so on and so forth. So it helps. Again, that's why I say realistic, because obviously you don't act the same with everybody. Yeah. And with Iki, it very much shows off where, yeah, he's acting this way because they're different people. And I like that. I like that about him. Again, he's consistent, and they never go too far with one way or the other, especially even towards the end, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a thing that too, that a lot of writer shows fall into, where they'll have a character with an established personality, and then as the show kind of goes on, they, for no particular reason, they'll start having the character change. Like, it's okay to have your character change personality as the show goes on because of plot reasons. Like, again, to use Build was kind of doing that early on, where you had Sento being kind of like a smart ass. He was kind of had a holier than thou personality. And then, of course, there's the whole shit with the Civil War when that starts, and when he, with Hazard, when he went crazy and killed that guy. And that kind of changed his personality, changed his outlook. And that's an understandable change to do your character. That's an understandable method of growth. The problem is that then Build kind of forgot about that, and then he went back to being like a smug jackass while also still trying to do the brooding edgelord atoning for his sins shit. And that's where, not to harp on Build any more than what
no, but I know what you mean. Like, that's the thing.
You get what I mean, is that with Iki's character is diverse in the way he interacts with the different characters and the different elements of the setting, but that stays consistent.
Yes.
And events that occur in the show flesh out that character and make his reactions change naturally, but his reactions stay consistent from person to person as the plot goes on.
Yeah, like he never changes. Like, he'll never act the way he acts with his mother, the way he'll act with George.
Yeah.
He never does that. And it works.
For example, when I forget his real name, so I'm just going to call him Julio, one of the dead mans.
Nobody gives a shit about his real name. Nobody gives a shit about his real name.
Oh, Tamaki. Tamaki was his name. Nobody. I don't think anybody actually fucking calls him his real name outside of the show.
Yeah.
Because really, Julio is just a better name.
Yeah.
Anyways, it would be like with him, where when he has his face turn arc, and we find out that he is kind of a dweeb, and he was just kind of putting on airs because he had the one-itis for the other dead man chick, Aguilera. And he starts, as he kind of opens up and he lets his animosity die down, he starts to become a bit more of a goof, and Iki starts to treat him differently because of that. They start to become friends and all that. It would be like if Julio went through that arc of changing as a character, and Iki was still treating him like a bad guy, like he was like a vile murderer, like he was in the first couple of episodes, basically. It would be like that would be weird, but it makes sense that he changes, and yet at the same time he's acting differently to other characters because that's just a natural way for his character to be.
And that's the thing. I really do like Iki as a writer because, again, he is very realistic. He feels like a person. Like, I can fully understand, which is not gonna be something I can say for another character we'll get to. I can fully understand his motives and the way he reacts to certain things and the way that he develops with certain people. Like, it all feels like it all feels right. It feels natural. It doesn't feel like Kinoshida's like, oh shit, what the fuck do I do with this guy now? I don't have anything else to do with him. It's like, no, it works. And the thing that really helps him, the thing that really helps him almost keep him grounded is Vice.
Pretty much.
Vice really, really helps Iki become more than just goody two shoes man, pretty much.
Yeah, so I think that's the thing, is that a lot of the best writer shows have always had that kind of duo where you have Double, where Shotaro had Philip, and Philip is still technically a writer, but he's kind of like a sidekick, more or less, kind of. It's not the same. Or like you have Gentaro and Kengo, or
Eiji and Ankh.
Fucking Ankh and Eiji. Yeah.
Ankh and Eiji.
Tendo
and Gatak.
True, yeah. Tendo and Kagami, or you have
Agito and G3, dude.
I'm trying to think of other shows where the duo aren't writers, but it's hard to
come they're not writers? Yeah. Oh, I mean, if you want to be really technical and semantic and all that shit, Driving Belt. Belt's not a writer,
That's
technically.
true.
He's a belt.
That's good. That's a good one, yeah. Where it's kind of, it's that natural opposite to their character, where Iki is kind of a more mature, straight-laced, very standard. I don't even want to say he's a standard hero character, because Iki is kind of too normal to be, and to that degree, I can kind of understand where people might not necessarily like Iki, because he's too normal of a person overall to be an effective superhero to a degree, and I understand that, but they make it work.
I was going to say, because I think thinking in that sense of he's not typical hero guy, I think that's almost kind of a reductive way of seeing it, because honestly, that's the point. He's not supposed to, like, literally, this was one of the best things about him. He's one of those guys who was not supposed to be the hero, who feels like he was not supposed to be the hero. Like, even up to the very end, it feels like, yeah, if fucking Daiji wasn't such a bitch, he wouldn't be here. Iki would not be here right now. And I like that, because he does feel like just a guy that got thrust into this. All he wanted to do was take care of the bathhouse.
That's true.
But no, now he's fucking here. And I like that. That's why I think that's why I think him feeling so normal, because let's be honest, he really is the only one who actually feels that way. Him feeling so normal helps everybody else around him. And not only does it help everybody else around him, it feels just natural. It works.
Yes. And again, I agree. It's definitely very natural, and it makes Iki stand out as a character. But again, I can understand why somebody might not like him, because he's not what we've had before. He's not that kind of standard hero arc.
But I think that's what makes him work. He kind of has that, has that local hero charm to him. He's,
That is actually a good way to describe it. Yes, he's a low stakes hero. He's like your street level hero in like Marvel or DC.
He's like Speedball.
He's like Speedball before all the murder.
He's not.
He's like Speedball before he became a BDSM guy.
Yeah, before he became Penance. Let's not talk about
that. He's a simple guy who wants to help his family's business, which actually is unique. Like the last 2 seasons, this is something I've liked about the Reiwa writers. They all have jobs. They all have freaking jobs. Now later, like towards the end of Heisei writers, we had writers with jobs, but these are like, we have a CEO, we had a novelist, a published novelist, and now we have just a guy who helps run his family's business. That's actually unique. It is. He's like, I don't look, I'll be a writer, but my main priority is taking care of that bathhouse. He's not looking to save the world or basically be like, okay, if he had been like a Phoenix member and said like, I'm gonna be like the greatest hero in Phoenix, that wouldn't make him appealing. Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get to that.
Gee, I wonder if there's any characters in the show that fit that.
So
But no,
so
that's
here's
what
something
makes-
I was also going to say about I was going to say this is something I want to say about Iki as well. And then this is something that I don't know. I know Jake probably caught on to because I think he said something about this before. They don't go the typical route of he gave up his dreams for his family. They don't go that route at all. And I'm like, that's really impressive that Kinoshita showed that much like self-control to not go that route, because you could feel it from episode 1 with a lesser writer. They would have gone with that whole, the reason Vice exists is because Iki has dreams he never went for, which I'm so glad they didn't do. If somebody wants to be pedantic, they can technically say, well, what about that time where he broke someone's fucking leg?
I was about to say that.
That's not the same. It's not the same thing.
No, it's not.
Because that's something else entirely different. And that's what I like about it. Because like, they don't go the typical route.
They did explain that he did have dreams of being a soccer player, and honestly, it wasn't that he gave up on his dreams. He literally hurt his friend, and he was pushing himself to the point of he wasn't enjoying it anymore, and that's gonna cause some damage to somebody.
I liked it. Again, I like that.
That was a good subversion there too, where Vice was never genuinely like evil or malicious, or his deal with Vice was never, well, I was going to say there was never any double motives, but there was, but we'll get to that. There was never any malicious intent behind it. Where Vice was, despite being kind of a goofball and jokingly evil, was never genuinely evil. His deal was entirely altruistic, and Iki at no point ever had to be like, my family is more important than my dreams or whatever. Being a hero is more important than that. Yada, yada. He never has that Spider-Man moment where he has to juggle, oh, do I sell out so I can afford Aunt May's medicine, or do I do the right thing and be Spider-Man? He never has a moment like that.
And get Aunt May shot anyways.
Well,
we don't have a one.
Lots of comic book references today, huh?
Have a one more day.
Well, we'll see in the movie.
We'll see. That's the thing, right? I like it too because again, they don't go that route. They don't go that route of he has to have that Spider-Man moment, and that's a typical thing for a show like this to do. Like he has to choose. No, in reality, it's kind of almost convenient the way that him being Revice. Fuck, I don't give a shit.
Revi.
I'm just.
I don't think anybody actually calls him Revi anymore. I think everybody just calls him Revice.
Anyways, so. That's what I'm saying. Like, I like the fact that they don't make him choose. It's just, well, being Revice helps out your family anyway. So, c'est la vie, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about Vice, because I think now we can get to Vice. Honestly, what a fucking change of mind that I had with this guy from the first initial appearance of him to the end. Holy shit, I love this guy.
He's funny. He can be annoying in the wrong setting, but he's a funny annoying.
Yeah.
Vice had the potential of either being the new Taros or being the new Arms Monsters in horribly obnoxious sidekick that nobody wants to be
Arms
around.
Monsters. You're talking Kiva Arms Monsters?
Yes, those guys from Kiva.
You mean the guys that didn't do shit?
Oh, yeah,
Exactly.
They barely did anything.
But yeah,
that's my point. Thank you. Yes, so Vice, from like the second they showed off Vice, I think everybody was kind of like, okay, what's the deal here? What's he going to be like? And then when they show, oh, he's kind of a goofball. He's kind of like a jokester. And from the first episode, I personally always really liked Vice. I always thought he was really fun. Again, he plays off of Iki in that kind of really interesting way where Iki's very much the straight man and Vice is kind of the clownish guy where he's he's making jokes and he's doing his bits, he's breaking the fourth wall, and he does get annoying a lot of points. There are a lot of points in the first arc of the show where he'll just kind of show up during a scene and just start making fucking jokes when there's a serious moment going on. Like there'll be somebody talking about like how their mother got killed by getting run over. Or something. This is just an exaggeration. This isn't me actually.
He just comes out going, "Mamma mia, that's a conundrum."
Yeah, he never. There's never that full on moment where like it fully. It's weird because early on, again, there will be a serious moment and there will be serious discussion going on, and then Vice will just pop up to make a joke that's completely unrelated or like a shitty pun about the situation. It's it's like that meme of Batman and Raphael where it's like, this is where I watched my parents die. Bummer. That's basically Vice.
Shut the fuck up.
That's basically Vice for the first 12 episodes or so.
Yeah.
And it's not even necessarily that they, as the show gets more serious, they dial it back, because he's still a goofy jokester even in the final arc when shit's all fucked and everything's on fire. But they learn to pick their moments. They learn to know when Vice kind of learns when to shut his mouth, or he learns to pick the moments of when to be goofy or not. Mm-hmm. And when he's, again, even when there's a serious moment going on and he's goofy, it's not as bad as it was early on, because at least it's thematically relevant, or it's like a one-off quip about something. And, quips are divisive these days, I know, but it works with Vice's character. And again, like I explained, excuse me, burp.
He knows when to bring levity and when he needs to shut his mouth.
I think Kinoshita really learned how to do that well, in the sense that towards like episode 20, it was like, wow, I don't even notice when, like, I notice it and it's funny, but like Vice is like perfectly balanced at this point. And I'm surprised he did it. Honestly, Kinoshita learned how to do this shit faster than anybody I've ever seen, because he was really able to do some of the shit like faster than even Takahashi when he came in.
Oh yeah. But no, the point I was going to make was again, like I had explained briefly, he's very much the natural contrast to Iki in a lot of ways, where whatever kind of personality or route Iki is going, Vice is usually the opposite, and it's never the opposite to the point where it's distracting or causes conflict. He's just kind of the natural opposite side of the coin, being, of course, his quote-unquote evil side, being
literal
his demon.
demon.
Yes. Like when Iki's being his pushy, busybody, serious self, Iki will be... Vice will be kind of a goofy jokester on the side, where he'll be, goofing around. He won't be really taking anything seriously, but weirdly enough, when Iki is being kind of like the goofy one, Vice will be usually either quiet or he'll be kind of a little more serious to a degree, where he'll be the one who's like furthering along the plot whenever Iki's in shenanigans. Like there's a couple of moments near the end where Iki and one of the other writers, Hiromi, they'll be like goofing around, dicking around, doing something silly, and Vice will be like in the background actually furthering along the plot, or he'll be saying things that are actually relevant.
Yeah.
And again, that's just in the general personalities, where whenever Iki's kind of like... again, I think that's the best way to put it, is that whenever Iki is serious, Vice is silly. Whenever Iki is silly, Vice is serious. And they really balance that well between the two. And their friendship feels really natural with the way it develops, where... Again, Vice starts off kind of like playing up the fact that he's a demon by pretending to be evil. He's not very good at it. But as the show goes on, he starts to drop that a little. He drops that fairly quickly, actually. They have this thing early on where he's like, oh, I'm actually evil and I'm only doing this because I have to. It's like, oh, I'm going to eat your parents, blah, blah, blah. But then it's like, yeah, okay, I'm just kind of fucking around. It's mostly a joke. And then as we find out, it was all a bit. He was never actually serious about anybody. He'd always been a good guy the whole time, which is nice. I liked that. It didn't feel out of left field when that came up. That felt like a natural reveal with the way his character had progressed.
And the way that you bring up their relationship is another thing that I actually really like. Honestly, they probably have my favorite buddy relationship in the franchise as of right now. Their relationships feel so natural and so, I guess, synergized that I honestly could watch these guys for fucking days. Honestly, I could watch these guys for days, and it led to, of course, I mean, you knew this was happening. I mean, everybody fucking predicted this from episode 1. leads up to the final fight with him and Vice, which honestly that was fucking heartbreaking for me. Like I felt like wow, I feel like shit watching this now. I'm actually like really sad it's gonna end.
So was I.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that was honestly something that I really enjoyed about the finale, is that it was a very different final fight than we've ever had before, where there was no stakes to it, really. I mean,
they're fighting to the death out of love.
Fighting to the death out of love is the best way to say it before we start spoiling stuff directly.
Look, guys, if you didn't listen to the fucking robot at the beginning, you're a dumbass.
I know we always bring up the robot, and I always bring up that we have the spoiler
this time
warning, but I like to at least wait until after the first half hour to get into it. Anyways, yes, so Vice definitely does start off as annoying, and I'm glad that Kinoshita kind of learned what worked with Vice and what didn't as early as he did, because I think if he stayed how he was in like the first 6 or 7 episodes up to like the midway point, I would have gotten tired of Vice, and I'm glad 100%. That they didn't.
The best thing about Vice for me, legitimately, is just, again, I mentioned natural, you mentioned consistent, is the fact that he consistently, like, he feels consistent, and I love how you can feel he legitimately does care for Iki. Like, to the point where he's like, I am willing to legit die for this guy to make sure that he's okay. I love that, because it doesn't feel, even in the good shows, sometimes the caring for the other character can feel a little bit forced. This one, it just felt like, yeah, Vice has been with this kid since he was a kid. So, of course, he's going to be like, I really want to make sure this guy is okay. And I like that. It felt good. And again, towards that finale was just the fucking culmination of it, and I loved it. It was great.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, let's talk about fucking Daiji, shall we?
All the
Oh, fucking boys. Oh, fucking, what the fuck happened to this guy?
Have you heard the tragedy of Darth Daiji the Stupid?
Have you heard the tragedy of Darth Daiji the Wise? Fucking... When you gotta rip off the fucking Spectre V Cinema, you're really fucking up, Kinoshita.
Every single thing.
But wait, Daiji wasn't a clone.
Was he though?
I'll say this.
Wait for the V Cinema.
Every single fault that Iki could have had, that they could have, that Kinoshita could have done, was put onto Daiji.
Okay. Hold on. Let's take this one step at a time, because I want to talk about Daiji in at least some specifics, because if we don't talk about him, people are just going to be like, you didn't get it. We did, you fucking asshole. So I got it. I got it from the fucking moment he was on screen.
Daiji is the middle child of the Igarashi family. He is also one of Phoenix's captains. In fact, it's his graduation ceremony where the first demon that we ever see attacks. And in fact, he was almost going to become Revice, but he panicked. And then he was meant to become it, but then his brother took over. Now we see a little bit of a looming shadow coming from him, that he has resentment towards his brother because he feels like he's unimportant, which is fair. He's the middle child. That's the middle child syndrome. And he's also out of the 3 children, he's the youngest boy, because we'll get into her next.
Let me explain this real quick, okay? Okay, so Daiji has his first tantrum with Iki. They get over it, and when that happened, I kind of was okay with it, because I explained to Jay when it first aired, I like it because it kind of feels like actual siblings. You don't always get along with your brother. Let's be honest, guys. Anybody who has a sibling, you don't always get along with your brother, and you don't always get along with your sister. That's just life.
Know it?
Yeah, everybody who has a sibling knows this. Everybody understands you don't always get along. And that's what I kind of liked with Daiji at first, because he didn't get along with Iki all the time. That was okay. And when they got over that, I was like, okay, well, it'll be fine if they have disagreements here and there. But then we get to his heel turn. And his heel turn is one of the most convoluted bullshit things I've ever seen, but only for one reason. it was given to the wrong character. Daiji should have not been that character because it didn't fit him. And because of that, he becomes such a... he almost becomes a different guy. It's a completely different character at that point.
Almost. A borderline different character. The thing... we're skipping details because we haven't gotten to all of it. The short version is, we'll get more to it when we get to the specific villain. The problem with Daiji's heel turn near the end of the show is that he should not, under any circumstances, have ever turned heel with this specific character, because by that point in the show, he already knew that he was an untrustworthy supervillain who was trying to enslave the human race, and he should not, under any circumstances, have believed what he said in any way, shape, or form.
But Jay, there's a reason.
There's
a reason. Because pussy.
No, you know what? And I said this.
Well, no, we're not talking about Michi. Michi was evil because of pussy.
Well,
Daiji
look.
Is a pussy.
Okay,
But
I was going to say there is one way that it would have worked if it was not Daiji.
But who?
Because the whole thing, and this was at the point of the show where they were trying to go for that. Would you rather have freedom or protection? Who's the guy whose entire thing before he got fucked off a cliff was he wanted to be a hero?
Oh.
Hiromi wanted to be a hero to a desperate level. And being a hero means protection. Well, what happens when a hero gets so far that he wants to be overly protective? I know we're going a little bit injustice here. I get that. But let's be completely honest. It fits Hiromi way more than it did Daiji. I don't know why they didn't give it to Hiromi. I don't know why they fucked him off a cliff in the fucking first place, because that didn't make any fucking sense. But that's a whole other different thing. We'll get to him when we get to him. But like I was saying, the whole thing with Daiji, like Jay said, is that it shouldn't have been him. It should have never been him. It made no fucking sense. The only reason he became him is because he got his ass kicked.
The problem is that there is not a single character in the show who should have realistically, under any circumstances, teamed up with the villain, because literally every character other than the other villains already knew that he was a villain and should have had no reason to trust him. So unless they were being literally mind controlled, they had no reason to. And look, Daiji turning heel makes sense to a degree, where, again, with the whole angle they start to introduce of freedom or protection, law or chaos. That's kind of again, we already used the Shin Megami Tensei comparison. Everybody kind of knew from the beginning that they were going to go down this route, where Daiji was, he was the morally upstanding, he's basically a cop. He's working for the government anti-demon task force. He's the one who's more heroically minded. He's the one who's more up about, freedom,
lawful,
and, basically justice, and keeping the peace and all that. He's the one who tries to push Iki more into being a hero. He's very law minded, and it makes sense for a degree that he would end up betraying Iki and turning on his own, because he became obsessed. He became obsessed with the idea of law and perfection to the degree of, well, fuck it, I'm just going to take over everybody and kill everybody evil so I can have perfect goodness. It's standard Shin Megami Tensei stuff where you go too far into law and go insane.
Let me throw this idea at you then. What if he just didn't go with either? What if he just said fuck all the sides? Because he obviously had enough of fucking Phoenix, but he also had enough of his brother. He had enough of everybody. I brought the idea, why didn't he just go rogue? That was what they set up.
Where
to
would
begin
you
with.
have
I was
gone
like,
with him then?
It literally doesn't change anything, honestly.
You know what? Yeah, honestly, that's the thing, is if he had just kind of went off on his own, said, fuck the government, fuck the terrorists,
fuck my brother,
fuck the demons, fuck everybody. Well, let's not
yeah.
It's a different kind of show.
That's Saber.
He went so far into trying to protect everybody that he basically was like, I'm going to destroy the world and make it over again, kind of. That would have made sense. That idea of where Iki is kind of the... he's more of neutrality. He's, again, because he's a very fleshed out, balanced character, he's very neutral. Whereas Daiji has a very heroic, strong-willed, strong sense of justice. He's very much coded into law. He's very much into order. So it makes sense that he would go full-on fascist, superpowered government dictator. But the fact that he teams up with the guy who is old, openly and blatantly working for fucking Satan, makes absolutely no sense.
Exactly.
You are right. If literally nothing changed, other than instead of teaming up with the villains, he just said fuck it and became his own villain on his own, nothing at all about that last arc would have changed, and it would have been way more enjoyable.
It would have been way more enjoyable because at least then it would have made sense. Because think
Yes.
about it, right? Why? Oh, why would you join with the guy, as you said, who is obviously Satan, but has also kicked your ass multiple times and slit your fucking throat? Where is the fucking logic in that? Like, somebody, I implore you, please try to explain that to me, because I'll laugh at your fucking face, because it doesn't make sense. Even if you want to say, well, Daiji was just being illogical at that point. Even the most illogical person on earth wouldn't join the guy who shot him. JFK wouldn't have joined Lee Harvey Oswald, okay? It would never work.
It depends on whose angle you're talking about.
Well,
Hey,
Not to mention he was high off that.
unless
he
this
was-
is the timeline where JFK killed himself, but that's another. That's
Well, remember, he was high.
That's getting
he
into
was-
schizo
He
shit.
was flying high with wings to fly.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
He was.
I'm sorry. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't stand that jingle after.
Get
a
off
while.
the stage.
You suck, McBain.
a lot of the jingles in the show kind of sucked. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
yeah. We'll get to that a little bit later when we get to like the miscellaneous parts. But again, like Jason, like I said, if nothing else changed other than him just going rogue, I think I would have been okay with Daiji completely. But
Oh, yeah.
it's because of how they did it, and because of, honestly, it was kind of a fucking non-conclusion. Because my dad almost died killing a demon. Fuck it. The guy who has an 80-year-old body who said fuck all of us and jumped off a cliff told me that I'm an asshole. Yeah, maybe I'm kind of a dick. Really? That's the fucking conclusion?
And again, I think, even the angle they went with, where, because again, he has his own demon, Kagero, as we explained, who, unlike Vice, who had his own costume and personality, and, well, he had a different personality. Kagero was just Daiji as a goth twink, which,
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if everybody else's evil side is a genderqueer goth twink, then I guess I'm my own evil side. Not the point.
Where's the good side then?
You don't want to know that, I guess. If I'm considered the evil side, I don't think we want to see the good side of Jay. Besides the point. And it made sense with his fall into full-on law pill, where he had lost his demon, he had lost his evil side. So it makes sense that without that kind of negativity to balance him out, he went too far into good and he looped back around to being insane. Again, that all makes sense. But again, it also doesn't make any sense that he teamed up with a guy who was openly evil. If the only difference was that Daiji didn't know Akaishi was evil, somehow did not know that he was evil, despite the fact that the man was on live fucking television openly communicating with the devil. If for some bizarre reason Daiji somehow either did not know or did not believe that he was evil, his heel turn would have made more sense, even again teaming up.
But see, that's the worst part, Jay. They literally have an entire scene where he essentially Heils Hitler, tries to exterminate people, and says, "I love GIF."
He did.
What
He
the
was
fuck?
literally in the bunkers.
What
Yeah.
the fuck? Where is the logic?
And literally and he was in his literal form that's holier than thou. It is literally holier than thou.
Like, okay, I get
And
the
look, you know
symbolism
what?
there.
We'll talk about Akaishi for a little bit, because he's so fucking fun as a villain. He was so great. He made so much of that
Dude,
last
you
arc.
could
what the
tell
fuck
that
was
he was
his
a villain from
what
the
was
start.
his what the fuck was his direction? Akaishi, I need you to act crazy. Okay, I can do that, but act so crazy that you have to reel it back a bit. What?
Like, don't go full Dan Carotto, but get close to it.
Like, dude, his evil laugh was like
self-aware that you're getting close to it.
Like his laugh was like.
He was so. Honestly, it's weird where I kind of hated him early on because of just how blatantly evil he was and how just kind of like annoying it was everybody acted around him. But I think because of just how openly, blatantly evil he was, and the more and more evil he got, he became way more entertaining. Like, he's a very physically expressive actor too, where he does a lot of the stuff with the hands and doing hand motions and stuff like that, which I'm always a sucker for. Oh yeah, he's got a really good facial expressions.
He really does, but it doesn't really work when his face actually does give off the villain look right away. I immediately said when they introduced him, I could tell this guy's going to be the bad guy.
Of course he was going to be the bad guy, because he walks in ruling the government, wearing thick black gloves like he's fucking Dr.
He's wearing a fucking white suit.
Well,
a white suit, and he's like,
tie,
Dr. No didn't
black
have
leather gloves. Of course,
hands.
He's evil. It's the same thing. I mean, they were black leather gloves because it was the 60s. They had no budget, but not the point.
Yes, Daiji, yes.
Again, fucking Dr. No walks in here. Obviously, he's evil, and it's annoying that everybody's just kind of playing along with him. But I think because of just how blatant, it's like Palpatine, because we keep making that joke comparing Daiji.
Dude, I posted that entire video where he's giving Daiji the family speech with the fucking that orchestra soundtrack from episode 3, and it's like this fits so fucking perfectly.
I think that's why he became so entertaining, is because he's basically just the Emperor.
He's fucking great.
He's so good. He makes so much of that entire arc just watchable. And I think the most interesting part too is that he ends up having a surprising level of not necessarily humanity, like depth to him emotionally too, where we find out his motive, and we start to find out like he's got like a weird fixation on family, and like, oh, don't worry guys, Super Giga Satan is actually a good guy, even though he wants to exterminate humanity. If we just get along nicely with him, we'll all be happy and peaceful.
So basically,
Super Mecha Death Hitler wants to kill you, but it's fine. Yeah. He loves you.
Yeah, like, again, despite being so blatantly hysterically evil, he's still got a weird level of subdued humanity to his emotions. And like, you get that part later on where he starts to kind of get obsessed with the idea of having his own like evil family as to oppose the Igarashis.
Daiji, my son.
Where he starts like treating Daiji like his actual son, and he starts getting really weird about it. And, like, he's like, and I liked that. It felt like it was like, this is just some dude who has been alive for so long he doesn't remember what humanity is, and he's trying to remember what being human is like.
I could feel these emotions.
Like, you've got that scene with him and God, I cannot remember his character for the life of me. I just kept saying Ninja Dad because he's an irrelevant person.
Yeah.
You got that scene where he kills the Ninja Dad, and he's having that emotional moment where he's dying and he's talking about his family, and he's just like, you had a family and you loved them, huh? And he's like, he's there, and he's like, he's got this this quiet, subdued moment where he's like, love, family, yeah, that's what I could have had. And then he's having that, like, kind of like, he's trying to bond with the guy that he just murdered, and he's like, he's not having any of it. It's such a great shot too, because like, you got the mountainside in the background, he's standing there in his white suit covered in blood, and the dad's just laying there on the ground. It's just this quiet moment where all you hear is just like the sound of water and the birds and everything. It's so fucking good. And
he's
it really
fucking
sells
great.
him as a great villain.
Honestly, dude, I wish he was the final boss. I wish he
should
was.
have been.
I really do.
Honestly, considering how things went with Gifu, yeah, I kind of wish he just ended up being the final
Gifu, you
boss.
mean fucking nobody?
Gift didn't do anything.
What a fucking waste of a villain he was.
Anyway,
God.
so we accidentally got off the Igarashi siblings.
Yeah, I wish they were twins, Jesus.
So, let's talk about Sakura. And by Sakura, I mean Lovekov.
Lovekov is adorable.
Because that's all you're going to remember from her.
Sakura is kind of like a non-character for most of the show.
All of it.
They did a lot more with her than they did with most female characters.
You know what? I'll give Phil
Sure.
this on this one. Sakura becoming a writer actually did make her relevant and did give Kinoshita a reason to keep her around and start getting involved in plots.
Oh, so you mean he planned it?
Probably. I don't know. Maybe. Who fucking knows anymore? My point is, the comparison I was going to make is that compared to, say, Kiriko, where her becoming a writer would have solved nothing at all, Sakura becoming a writer actually did solve a lot of the problems with her as a character, because she just kind of felt useless, where she didn't really have any role in the story. She was just kind of like a hanger-on where, again, Iki and Daiji had the primary back and forth with each other with their personalities. And that worked, but then Sakura was just kind of there getting involved. But then her getting her own powers, and then her kind of getting involved with the anti-government, terrorists, and her starting to go down the chaos route, that actually really made her not necessarily interesting, but that actually really helped her become relevant and stay relevant.
It worked, too, that they gave her the chaos route, because she's the youngest sibling.
Oh, yeah.
Being the youngest sibling, I think helped her immensely, because I think if she was the middle child or even the oldest child, it would have felt a bit like, what are you doing, mate? You should know better than this.
Yeah. I agree with that. But honestly, Sakura could have been the best character on the show, and she'd still be outshined by Lovekov, because, I mean...
Oh my god, fucking Lovekov.
Who doesn't fucking love Lovekov?
Welcome to the
right,
world,
folks?
Lovekov. Holy shit. This is easy. This is easy all over again.
Speaking of characters that you think would become annoying, Lovekov had the potential of being the most obnoxious thing in this entire show. Because you've got all these kind of realistic, creepy demons, and then you have a gigantic plush toy snake creature that just says love all the time.
Allow me to raise my hand and be the first to admit I thought I was going to fucking hate this thing.
Oh my god. Yeah, from moment one, Lovekov comes in, I'm like, oh, it's going to be this kind of character.
And then she gets the shit kicked out of her.
And then not only does she become a punching bag, but we find out, Lovekov's kind of a dick too. Like,
I love her,
moment
dude.
where she's insulting Vice early on, and like, oh, okay, there's a little bit of an edge to the snake. Oh, it's actually getting involved, and they're actually beating the shit out of it. It's like, oh, it's not just a thing that exists; they're actually doing stuff with her.
Oh wow,
Okay.
it's actually a character.
I know, right?
She honestly, Lovekov was a better actor than Daiji.
So
true.
much so that I actually
I-
pre-ordered the giant 22-inch plushie of
Look,
Lovekov.
I'm gonna be completely honest. Like I said, like we already said, I sincerely thought I was going to fucking hate this character so goddamn much. But my god, I love it. I love it. Everybody wants a Lovekov, and I want a Lovekov. Everybody wants one. It's
We all
fucking-
love Lovekov.
We
We
all
all
do.
let's love Lovekov. I still need to
Yeah,
do that
I-
Photoshop of her with Lane. Go
Honestly,
on.
I love what I love more is that her being a snake led to a lot of jokes with Evolt. So there's a lot of weird shit post pairings between them, which is good. It's a good team up. Honestly, speaking of team ups, her and Hiromi had the weirdest pairing with each other, where he just for no particular reason is like, this thing is adorable. I will kill myself to defend it.
Which is
It's
weird
so
because
good.
weird
he's
because
having
they
a
kind of dropped
conversation.
it.
Yeah, that's kind of the disappointing part. Is they kind of dropped that around the part where they dropped him off a cliff, and then when he came back, they kind of forgot about it. Unfortunately,
He should have gone off another one.
I guess at that point, like, stakes were a little too high to have them kind of goofing around like that, so it's understandable. Still, it's a kind of weird. They had that set up early on, where he's like, he's a big fanboy of Lovekov, and I loved that. That was adorable. And then they just kind of, nope, never mind.
Let's all love Lovekov.
And Lovekov's
Yes.
actually interesting as a demon, whereas, like, so you have Vice, who's literally a second partner to Daiji, not Daiji, to Iki. He's literally where they'll fight. Well, they'll fight.
Imagine Daiji and Vice. God, the show would be unwatchable.
Daiji has his inner demons, which goes into Kagero, which is. I'm gonna say it now. They have Kagero and Daiji are a Jekyll and Hyde relationship. Literally.
Wow, really? I didn't know this.
No, I'm being serious. Like, not like one where it's like he goes into like warp spasming Hulk mode. I'm talking like letting out his inhibitions, like literal original book version. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, but Lovekov is literally whereas, okay, so like where Kagero and Daiji will like swap over and there'll be different writers, Lovekov actually is more supportive where the Vice Stamps actually turn her into different weapons, a la Soul Eater. And it's actually pretty cool seeing what kind of weapons Lovekov can become. And
well, see, I like the idea of the demons because they all represent something different. Like you said, Daiji's is his resentment towards Iki, but also just being weak in general. Lovekov's is just, they say weakness, but I think it's more her naivety of like her emotional immaturity, I guess, because let's be honest, Sakura is emotionally immature for a lot of the show, which is not a bad thing. It's just her character, and Vice is Vice is Vice. She's black.
Really?
But yeah, Lovekov is great. So let's talk about Hiromi. He got thrown off a fucking cliff because he's stupid.
I want to say this now. I fucking love Hiromi. I love his character. I wish he had stayed around more. I got upset when he got thrown off the fucking cliff.
Let me put it like this. I liked Hiromi until he got thrown off a cliff. And then I just didn't give a shit. Because let's be honest, from the second that they said, "Oh, he has amnesia," I was like, okay. Then I said, no, he was just faking it. Oh, so he's just a dick. He's just an asshole.
He just wanted to get away from this dumb demon bullshit.
I get the feeling it's because they
which
had
makes him a hypocrite.
I get the feeling it's because they had too many writers going around at the time that they didn't know what to do. What's the name of the writer again?
Demons?
No, the writer of the series.
Oh, Kinoshita.
I get the feeling Kinoshita really didn't know what to do with him. That or Bandai told him, look, we got all these other toys that we need to sell. You got to get somebody out of there.
Obviously, it didn't matter anyways.
I think if I remember correctly, Hiromi wasn't even supposed to be like a recurring character, let alone be a writer in general. If I remember correctly, he was just supposed to die in episode 1 as cannon fodder and never come back. And then for whatever reason, people thought he was really entertaining, so they kept him around. I guess either the staff or early, first episode impressions kept him around a little bit longer. Because then he got his own writer form, which makes sense considering that his belt went straight to P Bandai. And it makes sense, too, where
that's why it's so expensive.
When they've kind of they've kind of done everything they can with his character, and then they kill him off, quote unquote.
See,
and
again,
when they bring him back,
honestly,
I would disagree. I enjoyed it when he came back because he came back at the best time, which was during all the bullshit with Daiji going on, where he's basically the audience telling Daiji to shut the fuck up and stop being such a
literally.
spaz.
Okay, but let's take that then. If Daiji wasn't going through that would not be a thing then.
Probably not. No,
well, see,
I don't
for
think
me,
they would have brought him back if that.
But
wasn't
it makes
happening.
sense.
But I mean, that's
because, remember, he was his after Wakabayashi's death. He became the commanding officer. He's not only his commanding officer; he's kind of like a family friend. And if he's not going to listen to his brother, if Daiji's not going to listen to his brother, why not listen to somebody who literally cannot become a writer at one point and at this point? Okay. Becoming the writer and telling him, hey, knock it off.
All right, there's two things I have a problem with here, though.
All right.
Number one, okay, as we established before, he's supposed to be the heroic guy, right? He's supposed to be the guy who was obsessed with being a hero. Okay. Why did he fake his death? And for that matter, why did he fake having amnesia? Doesn't that make him kind of just an asshole? I can understand he wants to get away from Phoenix. I get that. But Weekend exists. Not only that, but we also saw people out of Phoenix as well. So why? Because obviously he wouldn't be a high priority target. Fucking George was able to just leave that fucking place and go into the fucking bathhouse. And number two, why does Daiji listen to him and not his own father? Who just almost died.
I don't know.
Bad writing, I guess. Ran out of ideas. Honestly, if
him leaving,
I think
yeah, go for it.
I think the idea is that, again, I think Kinoshita wanted to kill him off and keep him killed off. But I think because he was so popular with fans, he decided, okay, well, I'm gonna say he's probably still alive but has amnesia, and then we'll see if we can find a good place to bring him back. And then I guess he just kind of got pressured into bringing him back, I guess, to sell toys or whatever. Thing? I have no idea. Yeah,
it's Baron from Gaim. That's what happened.
More or less, yeah. It's very similar to Baron there, where he just or honestly even Birth, where he was just supposed to be like a transitory character for, demons as a suit and everything else, but other things came up, and then because the character became popular, it's like, okay, well, we'll change ideas, but couldn't quite fully adapt to it. And I'll fully agree, as much as I really enjoy Hiromi's character, as he's kind of usurped that role of being the wizened commander, the authority figure that everybody looks up to in that final arc when he comes back. I really liked that. I thought that was a great use of his character. I do agree that the way they kind of quote-unquote killed him off and then brought him back and everything made it really weak. Like, having us know that he was alive but had amnesia it just kind of spoiled it, because it made it too obvious that he was going to come back at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I think especially if they didn't do the fucking spin-off special about him, like if they did that but had it be like a flashback, that'd be fine. But the fact that we knew pretty much immediately that he wasn't actually dead, it kind of spoiled the surprise when he ended up coming back. It's, yeah, okay, cool, he's finally back, because this has been so fucking insufferable with Daiji and all this other bullshit going on with Phoenix that we just need somebody who has some fucking idea of what they're doing to come in and fix everything. And when it finally happened, yeah, oh, holy shit, it's great. Because I remember when Hiromi came back, I legitimately screamed out loud when I saw him show up. And then, coincidentally, Momo Itaro died in the next episode of Dawn Brothers. But, as you do.
Peaks and bounds.
But it was like, yeah, oh, holy shit, he's finally back. But it was less, oh, Hiromi's finally back because he's such a cool character. It's, oh, Hiromi's finally back, so now we can have somebody who's, got a fucking brain to fix the plot that's going on.
See, and that's the thing. I wouldn't even have minded that he spoke to Daiji if it didn't literally come after Deathstream. If it literally didn't come after Genta versus Vale, I don't think I would have minded it. It just kind of comes.
No, the problem is that he spoke to Daiji once already, and then he ignored Hiromi.
Oh, that too.
Then we had the shit with Dad, and then he ignored that, and then we had Hiromi come in again to talk to him, and that's when he's finally fucking trying to listen.
Well, hey, third time's the charm.
Yeah.
Fucking it again. I don't even really mind Hiromi. I think it's not the character I have a problem with. It's the way he was used in that section of the story where it's like, okay, I get it, but I just feel like you could have done this way fucking better. He's not, and that's the thing. He's not even a bad character. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say he's a bad character. I just think the way that they messed with him fucked it. But again, that could also just be a barren situation where, oh no, he was just that popular that he had no choice but to bring him back. Like, he was forced to. Which, to be fair, there was a couple of things in this show that I feel like they were like he was forced to do it.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if there were, because I know there's at least two that I can think of.
Oh,
there's one I can say for definite, and there's another one that I'm pretty sure I remember them saying that he was forced to doing, but or at least it's pretty obvious. But
one was Hiromi, and the second one was what?
Well, coincidentally, the other demons, but we'll get to that non-character.
What I was gonna say earlier was I think I know that the spin-offs are in. Like, I don't know what the spin-off, like, where they take
the spin-offs,
bro. Hold on. Remember how later on when Hiromi returns and they say that they made mass-produced demons drivers for, like,
yes.
If they had said, oh, Hiromi, where have you been this entire time? I know that you had amnesia and stuff. If he had said, look, I've been out recruiting people for this new secret rider project, which was the recipients of the mass-produced Demons driver, that would at least make some sense. It would be like, okay, I had to go off the grid, I'm recruiting people, I'm training them, that's where I've been this entire time. That would have at least explained something.
But see, that's the thing. I mean, honestly, let's be completely honest. The spin-offs are an entirely different situation that Toei just... You're getting out of fucking hand with that bullshit. Let's be fucking honest with that. But again, I could even see... I could see that working. I could see that being a thing of like, oh, he didn't really have amnesia. He was actually just making... What were they called? Just like demon mooks? Demon troopers?
I think they were just called mass-produced.
They were Demon Riders, I think they were just called.
Multi-demons. Demon's Eye. Demonson. I don't know. Anyways, let's fucking get off of this guy because he's stupid.
Should we go to George?
I was gonna say, like, who do we go for first? Do we finish off Phoenix and then the family, or do we finish the family and then Phoenix?
I mean, there's really nobody else left in Phoenix to talk about, so let's just go through the family.
Well, George technically is Phoenix.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean,
well, Hiromi's not.
You know what? Fuck it. Let's.
Hiromi's not.
Well,
family.
I was gonna say let's. Well, I said Phoenix.
Oh,
though.
okay.
Listen.
I did listen.
Why don't you listen? Listen, boy.
Oh my God.
God. Anyways, yeah, fuck it. Let's go with George. George.
Hey.
Early on, okay, so he's like the tech guy. He's literally the tech guy, giving them the device stamps and everything. They're early on, and I know AJ and Jay and I talked about this. I think, remind me again what the writer's name is again. Kinoshita. I don't think Kinoshita knew where he wanted to go with George. If he wanted to make him the mad scientist with ulterior motives, or if he just wanted to make him this zany tech guy. And Kinoshita had it down until post GIF.
George's OC Donut Steel Rider.
Yes. Not
Look,
Kuga.
I'm gonna be honest. I kind of liked George at the start because he was that shady bitch. I was like, oh, you're a shady motherfucker, right? You're like, you got something going on there, buddy. What's going on here? But then, like I told Jay, they kind of just drop it, and he becomes just a good guy. He's, hey, family buddy, hey, George. And then he goes absolutely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs in the last 3 episodes, which was not needed, by the way.
It wasn't.
Like, seriously, what the fuck was that? And then he gets better, and that's it. That's it. That's George for you. Hey.
Sorry, Jay, go on.
Go for it, Jay.
As fun as Juga was, as sick as that entire sequence was, it really did kind of come out of left field. It really did feel like, well, we still have 4 episodes left. We need to fill it with something. And they probably already had that suit, so they were just like, George's daddy issues cause him to go crazy.
I was thinking that too.
It literally added, it pretty much added nothing. I know someone's going to say, like, oh, well,
I mean, it added a sick-ass suit.
Well, sure,
yeah,
the suit, but
suit.
story-wise, it really added nothing. Like,
no.
Okay, if they had beaten GIF, if they had left it at when they actually fucking beat him, the first time? You remember that? Remember how they beat him twice? Okay, so if they had left it at that, and then Juga came in, I think I'd be okay with that. But it's the fact that they already beat GIF twice. And I'm like, can we not do this? Can we just get to the final arc? I think that's okay.
It did feel like padding, to be honest. It really did. And the thing was, they had an interest, and all it was basically getting him to get through like a very fast grieving process of because he didn't get to say goodbye to his daddy. He didn't.
But you know what? You know what, Phil? I would have loved if that was an entire arc, because that is something that this show does well, and it's the family stuff.
It does,
because it would have been something that they could have explored of a completely different angle. He was abandoned by his father. He hated his father, but then he realizes his dad loved him, but it was too late. That would have been heartbreaking if they had done it right.
And you know what the sad thing is?
But they didn't.
The sad thing is, it's like spoilers. his father is alive. His father is alive, Masumi Karasaki, who's actually the head of the anti-Phoenix movement known as Weekend, and he literally will talk to George and say, like, this is like he'll pull a Darth Vader with a lightsaber, saying like the Thundergale Vice stamp, it's wonderful, or he's giving, like, you may be thinking like, oh, he's saying as a scientist that he's praising his work. But as a father, he's saying, I'm proud of you. It's literally those subtle little moments that he says, he's saying, I love you. And that would have been perfect. AJ, you're right. I wanted to see more of that. I would have actually liked to have seen some resolution before he died. But no, we didn't. It's weird.
You know what it is? It almost feels like this was supposed to be the movie.
I think it was.
Juga was supposed to be the movie.
I think it was.
You know what I mean? It felt like a movie plot. I don't know how to explain it, but it feels like a movie plot. And I'm like, this should have been the movie. George kind of going crazy over his daddy issues. Because where they put it, it's like, you didn't give this enough time. Yeah, Juga's a sick-ass fucking suit.
But it came
Don't
out
get
of
me
nowhere.
fucking wrong. But it's like, there's really no need for it. And of course, the Juga driver is just a fucking P Bandai thing now. Like, fuck you, I guess.
No wonder why I can't
Honestly,
get Damon's driver.
The problem, I think, is that they kind of early on were setting up him like becoming evil. They kind of had an early thing on where I know AJ and I were talking about this, and early on they kind of had a thing with him potentially turning evil. And I was like, okay, he's probably just playing it up as a bit. I think they aren't going to have him turn evil. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. As much as I fucking loved that arc, because it was a really fun arc, just like overall for the character, and just it felt like it didn't really make any sense because they didn't really establish, like, they have him up into the moment of him making the belt, of him like getting really like pissed off at his dad, and then of course his dad happens to pass away, after he's kind of nutted up, and now he's in that space of mind where I can't finally get that well done, son kind of moment that makes sense, where he starts to go on this kind of temper tantrum. But the problem is there wasn't really enough to set up with it because they had been so busy focused on GIF. God damn it, I did GIF. I was going to be contrarian. They were so busy focused on, Giga Satan the whole time that they didn't really have any time to really build up him going crazy is the problem. So it ended up just kind of feeling like a waste of time.
It was
fun as much as I did enjoy it. I did enjoy that arc, but it does really just feel like they were kind of spinning their wheels there.
See, I would have enjoyed it if they actually gave it the time it needed.
I agree.
Because again, like you said, like they set it up that he was going to be this way, blah blah blah. And I think that would have been fine, but of course, like we said, they kind of dropped it, and I kind of think to myself, like, how could they have done it better? Would it have been better if they didn't introduce George until like that, not until that fucking point, but like later on or something like that, so they wouldn't have to like just drop the thing completely. It's weird. That's why I kind of see George as like a movie plot, because it would have just fit better in a movie, and it would have given it the time it needed. Like, him just coming out of nowhere, beating the living fuck out of Aguilera, which is hilarious, by the way. Like, that, as funny as that is, there really is no need for it. Like, again, I get it. I want it more. I want them to actually do this correctly. Who knows, maybe Geets, his dad will hate him or something. His dad left for milk and something. I don't know. But whatever. Maybe that's why he's such an asshole. So, that's George. I guess we talk about the dead men's Olteca. Move on. We talk about Aguilera.
Dude, why the fuck did they bring him back?
Dude, literally they brought him back and they put him in a padded
Pretty much.
cell.
Honestly, as fun as I liked the kind of subversion between him and the other two leaders, where Julio was just kind of like a bit of a dweeb who got kind of peer pressured into it, and then Aguilera was, metaphorically and literally groomed into being a supervillain because she was quote-unquote wife of Giga Satan. Olteca was just he was just the Joker. He was just always a piece of shit, and then he got a chance to be an even bigger piece of shit. why did they bring him back? What the fuck did that serve? It was so stupid.
I mean, they could have had him escape from Phoenix and just steal the Demon's Driver again, but people were already...
Yeah,
It's not
and
like
then give us
fucking Beast Cinema's gonna
another fucking arc at the end that we didn't need. It was fucking stupid. It was stupid.
Ugh.
The thing is, Oteka as a villain, he was a dick, blah, 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 blah. But, like, after a while, it's like, why do we need him? Just kill him off and leave him dead, and then they bring him back, and all they do is just put him in a cell anyways. It's like, all right, bye.
The problem is that he had no depth as a villain, even from the beginning.
Even when they fucking tried desperately to.
They didn't give him any depth. They just were like, oh yeah, I've always been a psycho. Haha. That's my depth.
No,
like,
Jay, but his dad hit him.
Yeah, I was going to hit him too.
But Daddy hit me. That's why I'm evil.
Wasn't his dad Jiro from Kiva?
I don't know.
Actually, no, wasn't he?
No, that's High School Heroes, dude.
No. The dad in High School Heroes was Red Falcon.
No, the dad in High School Heroes that beat Silver was Jiro.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I forgot there were two abusive dads in that show.
Oh, Red Falcon wasn't abusive. He just didn't know.
Fair enough.
No, but yeah, fucking A, dude. Oteka is
like,
so fucking forgettable. You mixed up his origin story with fucking High School Heroes.
That says a lot about fucking
Oteka.
One, how memorable High School Heroes ended up being, which was surprisingly more than I thought.
I know, right?
And also how memorable Oteka was, which is barely any.
So let's get to let's get to Aguilera. Fucking this chick, dude. Aguilera. Phil Simp.
There are too many characters in this fucking show.
Oh, there are. But yeah, let's talk about Aguilera and why she's the most overrated character I've ever seen in my life.
That is a bold statement coming from you.
Oh, yeah, it is. Look, Jay, I have seen up and down. Because, full disclaimer, I watched up to like episode 15 in the initial airing, and then I just stopped. So I literally watched from episode 1 to episode 50 this week. So I remember when she became the B5, right? She became the B number 5. So... So I
Honestly,
remember.
I think her costume would be more memorable. It literally was.
It was just
the
the
bee.
bee.
It was that suit.
So,
was
anyways.
like last minute.
So, I remember when Aguilera was getting her face turned. People were like, "Oh my gosh, she's so cool. She's such a great written character." Blah 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 blah. I watched the show. Her face turn is just GIF slapping her.
Yeah.
She literally face turns by turning her face because she got slapped. Like, literally, that's her face turn. And then afterwards, she's just like, you know what? GIF is kind of a dick, isn't he? And that's it.
Yeah. Not necessarily. I wouldn't say it's immediate. It wasn't completely immediate. It was way too fast for its own good, but it wasn't literally immediately because of the dope slap. Because from that point
but you know
where
what
I
mean, though.
I do, but again, I don't think you necessarily. It's not exactly accurate.
No, I'm not saying it's a one-to-one comparison.
Okay, but again, that is what you're saying. But no, I agree with you that it is sudden, but it's not that sudden the way that you're phrasing it. It was definitely a little too sudden, but it wasn't like, oh, immediately she's a good guy now. Because they still had her like running around as like a half bad guy still. But again, it was still way too fucking sudden. And
again, I understand it wasn't that sudden. I was making a joke either way. But I'm just saying that it felt a little too fast. It felt too fast.
No, it was
definitely
definitely too fast.
And then, look, we'll get to him. But I hate the way that she got her writer power. I know it's supposed to be subverging expectations. I get it, Rian Johnson. But it still felt like a bitch slap to the audience.
It really did.
Because they gave Julio the writer speech, they gave him the flashback, they gave him the big boisterous soundtrack, and then fuck you, Aguilera gets it. I know she was
honestly, if they didn't already spoil her suit before the episode aired, I probably would have been more mad about that.
I didn't know. Legit,
well,
I didn't. Well, see, that's the thing. I was completely surprised because honestly, I'm actually shocked about this. The only thing I was ever spoiled of for Revice was Deathstream. and that was because you, jackass, showed it to me at the hotel.
I didn't see.
That's the only thing I got spoiled of.
I didn't know
the
about
only
that
thing.
stream.
Well, I'm not
'Cause you
talking
weren't
about you.
there.
But, like, that's the only thing I got spoiled for Revice. Everything else I went completely blind in. And I just hate the way that she got it. It's like, really? Really? That's how you're going to do it? You're going to just cuck Julio again? Again? Fuck's sake, mate. Why are you doing this to him? I get it, he looks like a fucking Lego man, but don't got to do this to the guy. But yeah, I don't really care for Aguilera. And then she becomes a non-character anyways. So let's talk about Julio. I liked Julio.
What a fucking entertaining character from
He
start
really
to
What
finish.
a fucking simp.
Yeah, he was a simp.
I think everybody kind of knew immediately from the first preview when he walked in with the fucking sombrero. Everybody knew he was going to be the most entertaining villain, and you know what? He was. Even when he was being a whining, crying weirdo, he was still the most entertaining character.
And
he was still the most entertaining.
Even
villain.
if his dialogue wasn't entertaining, his fucking hair was.
Oh yeah,
Holy
Yeah, even
shit!
when-
Who thought of that?
The bowl cut?
God, I don't know, but they deserve a raise.
Who thought to make this guy look like Oliver Tree for 30 fucking episodes? What the fuck? He looked like a fucking Lego. It doesn't help that his face is kind of small, so he looks like a fucking Lego guy. He looks like a Lego figure. It's fucking weird, dude. But yeah, I like Julio. I liked him a lot. I liked that they gave him an actual backstory that's good and didn't feel stupid and all this. I like, and then they give him over demons way too fucking late because fuck you. That's how agency work.
Is Over Demons
Jesus,
the
I
same
hate
as
it.
Veil?
No,
No?
no, it's not. Veil is different. They look the same, but they're different.
That's what was confusing me. They looked the same, but they're just not the same.
There's slight differences.
Called a
you
kit
could say.
bash, Phil.
Yeah, it's
Welcome to Kamen Rider.
It's a kit bash. But yeah, I like Julio. He's great. So we're done with the weekend people because there's nothing to say about them except for the fat chick that died, and I didn't know she died because she didn't appear in more than 5 fucking episodes.
No.
So let's talk about Hikaru. Fuck this character.
Why was he still around? He should have died like 7 times.
I can tell you why. Remember how Julio was a sim for Aguilera? Well, Hikaru was a sim for Sakura.
God, what a weird story arc for him too that went nowhere.
See, let's just talk about the reason why he's even a character to fucking begin with. Because his agency bitched at Kinoshita just enough. No, they bitched at Toei just enough to where they were like, oh, if he doesn't get more screen time, he's going to be taken off the show.
Are you serious?
Good. Okay, take him off the fucking show.
Yeah,
Nobody
I'm not
wants him
joking, Phil. That was the reason why Julio did not get over demons at the beginning.
Oh, that's...
He was supposed to be over demons.
Oh, that's fucking stupid!
Yeah.
Oh, come...
Makes you hate that fucker a whole lot more, didn't it?
come on!
Man, I hate agencies.
I hate Hikaru. I hate agencies. Fuck Japan. just fuck it. Anyways, after Hikaru, let's just talk about the family because they're the only ones we got left to talk about, really. I like the mom. Mom was great. I love the mom.
Mom's sweet. I like her.
She's a mother.
Mom felt a little weird at points. Definitely like I appreciate where it's like, oh, she's been dealing with weird demon bullshit for like 20 years now, so it's of course that she has a very unnatural reaction to all of it, but at the same time, again, it still felt like weird how plain and normal she was taking all this weird demon bullshit going on. She just kind of rolled with it all, and it felt a little weird at points for me, and it kind of made her not really mesh all that well with the other characters, and it made her feel like she belonged in a different show to me.
Are you
honestly.
turning on someone's mother?
No.
You're turning on someone's mother, Jay.
Why'd you
turning
call
on
me?
I'm not attractive.
I'm not talking about you, Phil.
You almost did.
What? No, I said Jay.
Oh, never mind that.
Jay is shitting on someone's mom right now.
You don't shit
I
on.
can't believe it.
You don't shit on
I am not. I am
somebody's
not
mom,
literally.
Jay.
I am not defecating on somebody. Okay?
I cannot believe that Jay is shitting on someo's mom right now. This is
Jay,
I can't imagine it.
That is
Truly.
lewd and that is
Truly. You are
indecent. I would
horrible,
never do
Jay.
something like that.
What would
I know
what would
I'm horrible.
What
Have
would
you met
Iki
me?
do if he saw this, man? Come on. Anyways,
He'd probably punch me.
to be fair, the entire family probably would, because they're all fucking crazy motherfuckers.
That is true. Family of psychos.
So speaking of psychos, let's talk about Genta.
Ooh,
I like Genta.
Genta had a very strange arc.
He did.
Oh, he really did.
He did.
He was fucking weird, man.
I compared him to his actor's character in High School Heroes early on to AJ, because it's that same route of, oh, here's a goofy side character that's actually super mega important to the entire plot line in more ways than
Are we sure Kinoshita didn't write High School Heroes?
Oh, he did?
You know what? Maybe. I don't know. No, you fucking dumbass. Pay attention. Where he starts off as, like, again, he is just this kind of, like, he's the goofy dad. He's got a YouTube channel that nobody watches where he does dumb dipshit videos for nobody but himself and his family, and even then, just himself. And then they're like, oh, there's something weird. Like, that's actually not something possibly normal. Like, you've got George, like, watching him, like, what the fuck is up with this guy? Like this is not how a normal human being should be acting. And then we find out, oh, he literally doesn't have a fucking heart. He is literally not a real human.
He's a heartless.
He's literally like a fucking walking monster. And it's such a fucking sharp turn where it's like, oh, dad's all fucked up. And then we find out that the dad is also a demon. Well, not necessarily a demon, but he had his own demon, and he was a writer. And because he was a demon, he had a fucking... he
had a demon.
God fucking damn it. Because he was also a writer in the past, his kids all have demon blood in them, basically. Which is... Oh, what a surprising turn of events that ended up being.
What the fuck?
It does actually explain why their demons actually act differently than the other demons with their contracts. It actually makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and
yeah.
honestly, Genta is only as entertaining as his demon Vale, who, I'm going to be honest, like 80% of Vale's character was sold by the fact that it's Kenjiro Tsuda.
Yep.
Like, if it were literally any other voice actor than Seto Kaiba, I don't think Vale would have been as entertaining as a villain.
How does he do it, Jay? How does he sound so naturally fucking evil?
I'm pretty sure he smokes like a pack.
What about
rat.
Masumi?
He sounds like an actual, like if you were to tell me right now, hey, what does a demon sound like? I would point you to this guy because he sounds so fucking evil, dude. It's amazing.
He really does. He's just so good.
He's like Wakamoto, where he just naturally sounds like a bad guy.
Oh yeah. Honestly, like, I'm so glad that they actually kept him around and that they didn't just, like, bring him in to voice the one belt, to do, like, 3 lines of dialogue for the Demon's Driver. Honestly, the fact that they fucking turned the Demon's Driver into an actual character with motives and a personality was such a great idea. Or it's like, oh, how about the Demon's Driver is evil and it's killing whoever uses it? Oh, how about if there's a literal demon inside of it? Oh, how about that demon inside the driver is the dad's demon, and the dad used to be a Kamen Rider? Man, what a fucking brilliant turn with just a random throwaway character and toy. It's such a brilliant idea.
Honestly, and not only that, it actually led to my favorite fight of the show.
Oh,
that fight was beautifully done.
That was a good fight.
I almost wish... No, not almost. I do wish that Deathstream never came back. That was the only time they ever used him. I really do. Because that was such a, like, impactful fight that I'm like, I wish this was the only time we got to see it. Because of, like, all the symbolism and shit that was in that fight. I mean, shit, he literally stabs himself, for fuck's sake. So I was like, man, this is so fucking good. What happened to Gento? Why is Genta so fucking good?
Why is this man's life nothing but suffering? And why does that make him so entertaining and fucking hilarious?
I think it's because, you know, I know I'm using it wrong, but I'm going to use it because I feel like Jay knows what I'm talking about. It's the sad clown thing. You know?
Yeah,
it's the sad clown thing. You know, he's
Pagliacci.
He's funny. He's really funny, and I love him. But there's obviously excuse the pun, veil of, like, depression there, and I'm like, wow, That's so fucking well done. You know what it makes me think, Jay? It makes me think, man, I wish we kind of had another Hibiki situation where you would get somebody like this as a writer, like an older person to play a writer now. But that would never happen because we got fucking Thouser Jr. over here.
No, but that would be really honestly, I would have watched the show if Genta was the protagonist.
Yeah, right. I'm so glad someone else said it.
I would want to see a show with him as the main character. Honestly, just the same way the show went. If he was the main character, the exact same way he was in this show, the exact same plot beats and everything, I think it would have been a way much cooler show, to be entirely
honestly. It would probably be one of my favorites.
Oh yeah.
I almost hope somebody out there. I know it would be hard but with editing you can do anything. I almost hope somebody out there does a Genta supercut where it's they use the Veil special and Deathstream where it's all right, here it is. This is the story of Genta, and I'm like, fuck, that's awesome. Fucking love it. But that's about everybody, right? That's everybody.
That's everybody who matters,
Yeah.
pretty much.
So should we talk about stamp camps?
Stamp camps.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus. Mandatory stamping.
So this show went through a couple of different arcs. So the first arc was, of course, the Deadmans are trying to release people's demons because something Gifu. And so they're picking people to make contracts and use the stamps to become demon monsters. It's standard Monster of the Week stuff, which honestly doesn't really go anywhere. And as much as I miss it, I'm glad Kamen Rider is kind of dispensing with the Monster of the Week format these days. It's just it really doesn't work anymore.
It's progressing past that.
Yeah. I think the last show that really kind of bothered with the Monster of the Week format and made it work was probably Drive. Everything else is really just, it's felt vestigial to the plot.
Like you have to do it because it's tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, the thing where early on it's just, okay, so it's your pretty standard deal with the devil type scenario, and you got a little bit of the bickering with the law and chaos aspects, and you got some intrigue, get some plot lines going on. And there's kind of this weird veil that Phoenix, the government guys, are secretly evil, and there's something going on. Maybe there's something going on. And there kind of ended up being that, and the show kind of kept foreshadowing the idea that Phoenix itself was actually totally evil, but no, they just kept hiring supervillains for whatever reason.
That's amazing,
so
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like if the Red Cross fucking hired Pol Pot.
But yeah, after that they get the Monster of the Week type stuff done. The show honestly starts becoming a little bit more entertaining, where you've got the Phoenix's new leader, Akaishi, as we said. The original leader, Wakabayashi, I think his name was, or
he wasn't the leader. He was just Commander Supreme.
He was basically the leader, the chin dude from Amazons, I guess.
I was resisting saying it.
Who turned out to be an imposter, which kind of felt unnecessary. Honestly,
it felt kind of sus.
Yeah, honestly. Okay, so after they kind of got done with the Monster of the Week type stuff, what it ended up being is Akaishi's starting to do a little bit of manipulation with Phoenix, where he's starting to set up them basically taking over, and we get introduced to a group called Weekend, who are they're basically terrorists. The government is secretly evil, and we're here to take over not take over the world. We're here to destroy the government, basically. They're kind of they honestly, it's weird because they set them up as being these big counterculture revolutionaries, but they don't fucking do anything at all. They just exist. Anyway, so they set up this kind of political intrigue stuff, and you've got Akaishi starting to manipulate people and starting to go a little bit more public with the demon stuff. He's starting to try to play it up, make it a little bit more of a threat. And then of course that's when we find out about the dad, and we start to find about the the demon genes and all that, and we find out the dead man's motives and all that. But around like the midway point, Akaishi just goes full on mask off. He's just like, oh yeah, demons are gonna fucking take over the world. We're not equipped. The Kamen Riders are all a bunch of psychopaths. We need to just give in. We just need to quit. Everybody who has a demon, you need to get rid of your demon, because that is just gonna make you a target. So this plotline ends up not mattering too, which is the funny part of they're forcing people more or less to go and have their demons extracted to do something or other, and it ends up being this almost bizarrely unintentional comparison to like COVID and the vaccines and everything.
Jay, let's not even try. It's not intentional. This motherfucker knew what he was doing.
I literally cannot decide whether or not it was intentional.
There's no fucking way.
It was
There
intentional.
is no fucking way. This was not on purpose. This motherfucker would have to be the most sheltered bitch in the world to not find this funny, to not find this intentional.
It would literally not be the first time something like that happened.
It is so like. It is so on the nose, it's basically sitting on your face.
It is, yes. So there's the entire plot ends up being like a weird like criticism of like the fucking COVID vaccine and like how it's actually secretly a conspiracy and shit. It's so bizarre how one-to-one it is. Like it's literally. The entire thing is fabricated. You just need to get this done because it's you're being told by the government to do it, and it's secretly helping the bad guys. And nobody everybody thinks, oh, there is literally somebody who just straight says, I think the demons are a hoax. Like,
right? Yes. Dude, for fuck's sake, they quarantine.
They're having super powered battles in the fucking street on live television. Fucking Revice's secret identity is public knowledge. He's been on the fucking news. How can you say it's a hoax?
He was on the radio.
Yes.
But that's the thing. Like, they fucking quarantine and everything. They might as well have just started wearing masks. They might as well. Because it is so fucking like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not gonna lie, Jay. Because let's be honest, it came out of fucking left field the first time it happened. When they said mandatory stampings, I'm like, no. Oh my god.
It is bizarre how blatant it is. Where it is so blatant, I'm convinced that it was not intentional. I genuinely cannot accept that this was a intentional idea. This just was so bizarrely coincidental to current events that it was unnoticeable. I have no idea. I have no idea how the fuck he got away with that. It's so
obviously he did it because there's a bunch of people on Twitter who are fucking mad about it.
Well, they're white people. They don't matter.
No, the Japanese too. There's a bunch of Japanese people who are tweeting at him like, what the fuck was that, bro? Oh my god.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Like, that's the thing. It's such.
And you know what the funny part is that it doesn't even matter.
No, it doesn't.
Literally, it doesn't fucking.
Which is why I feel like it is. That's why I feel it's intentional, because he made it such like a non-factor. It was just like, let me put this in and see if they catch it.
He's weird. Kinoshita does a lot of weird stuff like that, where he puts in a lot of really weird commentary about like current events and current society and stuff like that. And it's just like, it's brought up and then glossed over to the point where it's like, I don't know if he's intentionally trying to make a point. I don't know if this is just a big coincidence or not. I can't tell, and honestly, I don't want to figure it out.
Oh my god. It's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's so good.
I honestly, Jay, when I first saw mandatory stamp camps, I stopped watching that entire day. I couldn't do it. I died, honestly. I was like, you know what? I gotta go home. I gotta go eat a sandwich. I just can't think about this right now because holy fucking shit. Oh my god.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. Like watching that come up live, not knowing that's going to happen, and seeing them talking about this shit, I'm like, wow. It legitimately caught me off guard too, where it's just I'm still having trouble processing whether or not that was legitimate or not. I can't decide if it was legitimate or not.
Little did we know, Revice wasn't written by Kinoshita. It was written by Magenta. Anyways,
No. If it was written by Magenta, then the stamp camps would be actually 100% a good thing.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. Anyways, after stamp camps, oh Jesus. I guess we just gotta go to the final arc, which is Iki fucking loses his. I'm just gonna come out right out and say it because Kinoshita basically did. Iki has Alzheimer's.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So the show sets up around the same time, relatively early on in the show, that every time Iki transforms and every time he gets into a fight, something weird is going on. Where like we start to see him slowly disappear from photos, and Vice seems to figure it out really early on. He makes a comment about it, but then doesn't bring it up again. And again, I don't know if that was like he wasn't quite sure what he was doing with that or not yet.
I think so too. I think he wasn't sure because I feel like he might have tried to begin like the beginnings of that was probably he was going to go full Xeranos where people forgot about him, not the other way around.
That, or I don't know, maybe he was going to slowly become more of a demon or something like that.
You know what? Yeah,
really
like
know.
the flipping sides and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do have which I think is a good idea, rather than like making it super blatant and then changing your mind. I think keeping it subtle was a good idea, because it wasn't until around like the halfway point when we get the full nature of their contract is when I think he really kind of settled on it, because that's when we start getting more of the stuff about his memory. So as we find out, when he was a wee lad, Dad had a bit of a temper tantrum with his demon, Vale, and nearly killed his whole family, as you do. So what ended up happening is that little baby Vice, by baby Vice I mean fully grown adult Vice, made a contract with baby Iki, where he'll always protect him and help him to save his family and keep his family safe, and help him stop the bad guys. But the payment that he made for the contract was that Iki would have to forget about that interaction they had. And because of the specific wording that he and Vice made, because Iki was a child and didn't know any better, and Vice is a man-child and is an idiot, every time Iki transforms, he loses more and more of his memories of his life, and specifically of his family and his memories associated with them. And because of the way the contract is, there is no way for them to void it or undo it. So as the show goes on, he starts losing more and more of his memories, and he starts forgetting more and more about, like... excuse me. He starts forgetting, like, vague details. Like, the dad makes an offhand comment about, like, a vacation they took. And he's like, vacation? Oh, I don't remember about that. And it's like, oh, okay. It's like, yeah. It's subtle to the point where it's not like, oh, I guess I've just been so overworked. I don't even, I've been so focused on the demon stuff and the Rider stuff that I've kind of forgotten about my family. But then they turn out, oh, I've literally forgotten about my family.
Ooh.
I am not going to lie, Jay. And I think I mentioned this to Phil. That scene where he's like, "Oh, our bath is only opens at 3." I was like, "Oh, fuck."
That scene in the last chunk of episodes where he's fully forgotten his parents, and he's just like, "Hey, I'm sorry, we're closed," to his parents in their own house, and everybody looks at him like he's gone insane. Because by that point, the parents already knew that he was losing his memories, but they had kept it a secret from Daiji and Sakura. But that moment where he's fully forgotten his parents is so genuinely dramatic and emotional. And then there's the follow-up later in the episode where he goes back home and he's just like, Mom? Dad? Like, he's really, like, unsure of himself and he's, like, confused when he's like, talking to them. It's so good.
Honestly, dude, when it
great.
happened, like, when that scene happened, and this doesn't happen often with Kamen Rider anymore, so I don't know what that says about this franchise up to this point. I audibly, like, legit, like, gasped, like, oh, fuck. Because you know why, Jay? Because even though they mentioned it, you kind of, it's kind of genius in a way, because the way that they set it up is that he's losing memories, and they do say eventually you'll forget about your family, but you start thinking, oh, well, he'll be losing small things like a vacation or something that they ate or something like that. You never realize, oh shit, at any moment he literally could just lose his memories, because they don't say it goes from like small memories to big memories. It's just that random. So at literally any moment he could have forgotten his parents, and it was like, oh fuck, that fucking bomb dropped. I was like, holy shit.
And I think you make a good point there, is that we don't really get plots like this anymore where, again, I think the problem is that when they do these kind of like long-term stakes plots, they'll bring it up once or twice, never mention it again, up until the point where they decide, okay, here's where we're going to resolve the plot, and now suddenly it's like, oh, now it's immediate stakes. Like, fuck it, with Go and Drive, where they mentioned like, oh, he's trying to rush to do something, oh, he's got some sort of time limit or whatever, and then they forget about it up until, oh, we suddenly reveal, oh, something my dad or whatever, and then it's immediately not a fucking problem anymore. Like, that's kind of the issue, where a lot of other shows, they can't do those long-term stakes anymore, and I think Revice really pulled it off pretty well. I think I think it was a little too heavy about it early on.
Oh yeah,
to a degree where
it made you think that this was an immediate thing.
Yeah, I think where they had the him disappearing from photos in like episode 6 or 7, I think they kind of set up they set it up a little bit too heavy, I think, unfortunately, especially where, again, it's not entirely clear whether or not he always had that idea in mind or not. I think if it was a little more subtle about it, it probably would have had it still had a really strong impact from the moment we learned of the stakes up to the finale.
Do you think it would have been better if, like, he didn't introduce it with the pictures right away? He would have introduced it with, like, Iki finally finishes the fight, and they mention, oh, this is like the time, blah blah blah, and Iki's just like,
yes,
I don't remember that.
If they did it like how they were starting to do it after the reveal with Veil, where Dad or Daiji, whoever, offhandedly mentions something, and he's just like, what are you talking about?
But obviously something not super important, something that he could easily forget, so even to the audience it's like, oh, of course.
They mentioned like a specific meal or like a vacation.
You remember that time we went to McDonald's or something? It's like,
or like a random anecdote of their childhood, where it's like, oh, do you remember the time where Daiji ate shit off his bike? It's like, it was a big deal for you emotionally, and he's just like, no, I forgot about that. And honestly, I think they even do that. They do that a couple of times.
Oh, they do. There's a couple of times where they bring up something small, and like even like you can see on Iki's face, he's like, and all props to the fucking actor for doing this.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't remember that.
And you know what? That's, again, that is subtle, where it's like, oh, well, I mean, that's natural. That happens to a lot of people, where something that was a big deal to them when they were younger, because it's kind of past, they've started to forget about it. And it isn't until they're much later that they start to remember it. I'm sure there's plenty of things that you and I and Phil and Chad and everybody else, there's something that we had that were big emotional moments to us when we're younger, and that now we can barely remember, that I'm sure someday we'll probably suddenly remember.
Yeah, and that's what's genius about it.
Oh, yeah, and again, it's like where I said, where, especially with the course of the plot, where Iki's been so focused on doing the Kamen Rider shit. Oh, yeah, I mean, the families kind of fell to the wayside there. And that, I thought, was really good. I think if he didn't do the stuff with him disappearing from the photos, I think it would have been better. But again, I'm not sure if...
So.
Gross, Morty.
And he burps.
Morty. Yes. I don't know if Iki disappearing from the photos and him forgetting about his family were supposed to be one and the same up until a certain point.
Do you
I don't know.
I was going to say, do you think that the disappearing photos might be, and I don't mean to say this to insult people, it might have been like a Rosie situation, like, oh, everybody has to get what's going on kind of thing?
Possibly. I think it was, again, at the end of the day, this is still a show for kids.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was probably a conceit that he had to put in.
Sure.
Okay, well, we need to have somebody understand the what's going on.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
I could see it as something like that, but I can also see it the way you're saying it, where he started this idea not really knowing where exactly it was going to go. Because I originally thought that maybe they were going to go full Xeranos, where people forgot about him, not the other way around. You know what I mean? But yeah, so yeah, I can definitely see where you're going with, and I think it would have been interesting, honestly.
Honestly, I really enjoy the way that we have it.
Oh,
I
100%.
enjoyed the plotline. I honestly could not foresee or see any other way that this went, other than like
a super happy ending.
Again, them going full devil man, where every time he transforms, he becomes less and less of a human, and he's starting to erase himself from humanity and stuff like that. Like, unless that's the route they went, and they went full like grim dark downer ending.
Yeah.
I couldn't see any other way that they did this plot line that made it better.
Honestly, I love it too, because it's I'm not gonna say it's realistic, but it very much shows like what not only the person goes through, but what the family goes through when someone's going through something like this. Like, legitimately, one of my favorite parts of the entire show was that one frame where Vice goes to the parents, like, he's going to start being his Vice, and it's like, hey, mom and dad, tell Iki something. But he just stops, and all you see is like a half frame of his mom and dad just depressed at the fucking family table, and I'm just like, oh, dude, that fucking hurts.
It really does.
That hurts. Like, it was masterfully done. Like, legitimately, I was like, yeah, this show really understands what it's doing with its fucking characters, and I fucking love it.
That's
and again,
painful.
Yeah.
That was a painful scene.
Honestly, yeah. And again, when it drops the boom of him forgetting his parents. And then, of course, when he asks Vice, hey, who are they in relation to Daiji and Sakura? I'm like, oh, fucking hell, bro.
Oh, that was such a major
That really
gut punch.
was.
It was, too, because you could tell, like, Daiji and Sakura, like, they're all happy. Like, yeah, we beat the bad guy, but they're really holding it back, like, but you forgot about us, and
you could tell even beforehand. I think for the younger viewers, they wouldn't have known this until the dialogue, but I could tell just by his face like you could tell by his face, like how his face was going. Like I immediately was like, oh no, shit. And then I was like, oh, you went there. Why?
It's actually really sad because Kinoshita doesn't just like let him remember like a couple. He just completely forgets his family entirely, like to the point where he doesn't feel comfortable living there anymore. He gets his own apartment with Vice and everything, and of course, that brings us to the ending. Which let's just talk about the ending right here and then. I like the ending.
Such a good ending.
I like the ending because, and I know what's going to happen. Summer movie's going to come around. Vice is going to come back some fucking way, blah, blah, blah. But I like the ending because it's another one of those, there is no other option. There's no second way. You want your memories back? You got to kill me. You don't want them back? Then you're going to stay like this forever. There's no third option. There's no super happy ending to this whole thing. And they do, and Kinoshita does it in a way that I think, well, no, it's never really been done like this before, where the final fight isn't out of malice. They're just two buddies fighting it out, and I don't know. It just that entire scene was hurtful, man.
Brawling session.
It's
basically.
depressing,
and it fucking hurt, dude. It hurt. Honestly,
the whole last two episodes were really good because I like that it's Vice who's like he's the one who goes to George. He's like, listen, I fucked up big time. You need to help me. You need to, like, this is what's going on. This is the reality of the situation. You need to help me. And then George is like, no, fuck off. And then he's like, okay, that was a little too rude. Here's what you got to do. And then it leads to this whole... They kind of... To a degree, I'm glad that they spoiled it, because it made me surprised where they showed off, the final fight's going to be Iki versus Vice, which was kind of predictable. You kind of knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, it was one of those things where you didn't know how it's going to happen, but you know it's going to happen.
No, exactly. I like the way that they ended up doing it, though. I like that it was... He decides to do the, I'm faking pretending to be really evil so you can try and kill me. But that plan backfires, so it's like, well, fuck it. Let's just be honest about it. Your life will be better with me or without me. You need to have your family and your memories back. And all these other people agree with you. And they kind of have that really bittersweet, bro fight, basically, where he slowly starts getting his memories back as he slowly starts to forget about Vice. And that's such a great trade-off, where it's like, he remembers his family and he remembers being a writer, but he doesn't remember anything about Vice at all. It's really good. I'm glad that they, at least up to this point, have not undone. They did not undo Vice's death.
That's what I'm saying. It's one of those. That's what I'm saying. Like, I like that there was no third option. It's kind of like Blade, where there is no third option. You either do this or you're fucked.
Pretty much.
I like that. And, it's even better because, Vice had, like, a really good line, because people are like, well, what about you? Like, Iki's going to be nothing without him. And Vice is just like, well, he can't be sad about somebody he can't remember.
That's
Like,
heart-wrenching.
oh, fucking hell, dude. Fucking hell.
It's like he's accepted his fate that he has to die.
And again, like Jay said, that entire bro fight where they're just having fun with the forms, and then they're even making little comments like, "Oh, that one was always super fun, wasn't it? Yeah, that was the best.
That
one
was
we
sweet.
Could fly and shit." I was like, "Yeah, damn it, dude, you can't do that to me, man. Can't." But you know what the worst part? Not the worst. The most heart-wrenching part is, Jay. Iki didn't even land the final blow. Vice just died.
No. Yeah,
Vice just up and died, and it's crazy because it's like. It hits even harder because it's basically the show saying, you don't get to choose when a family member goes away. It just happens.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, fucking damn. Fuck, you just gotta kill me like that? You just gotta, like, stab me in the fucking gut with that shit, dude? Fuck. Like, that legitimately did, like, probably the most depressed I've ever been at a writer show for a while. Well, besides being depressed that it's so shit. But,
honestly, I compared it to... It's very similar to Oz's ending, but it's a little more sweet than bitter. Where it's that same kind of, everything's happy, everything's been resolved, all the problems are gone, but your best friend is dead, and he's never coming back, quote unquote. And it's kind of like, well, life goes on, but it's still hard to move on. And I like that. I really liked that. And I do like the idea that, like, subconsciously Vice is still around because Iki's starting to copy his mannerisms and his shtick. And, I'm sure that's going to be a setup of, like, Vice is still around because blah, 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 whatever bullshit.
Plot, yeah.
I like that idea that they were friends and bros for so long, and they were family for so long that Vice ended up subconsciously imprinting on him that way. And I liked that. I liked the angle that they went with that.
And shit, if I know they're going to, but in a bubble, you can even look at it like that. Like, when you hang out around people for so long, you just kind of copy their mannerisms. It's weird.
Yeah.
And you could use that, and it's great. Honestly, in a bubble, this show is like, it wraps up so nice and neat in a way that I don't think a lot of other writer shows could do. It's great.
No, not at all.
So, miscellaneous things before we get into our final thoughts.
I
liked most of the suits.
Yeah, the suits are nice.
I'm surprised at how divisive all of the suits ended up being when they were first shown off, but it's weird because like every single time a new suit showed up, everybody was like, "Oh, this looks like dog shit. Oh, this is the worst one yet. Oh, this sucks, etc., etc." And then every time it actually debuted, everybody ended up loving the hell out of it. To some exceptions, like I think some of like the early quarter one forms where like the random stamp forms were kind of mad, and I'm kind of glad that they ditched the whole they're themed after old writers idea, because that kind of started getting old.
Yeah.
They didn't really need to do that. There wasn't really any reason to do that.
Really.
No.
I
mean, they kind of kept it around subtly with like the weapons and some of the other stuff. Like off the top of my head, fuck, I can't remember which one it was. Sakura's weapons, they were all themed after old writers, but they were subtle enough about it. They were like Deathstream, he was themed after an old writer. I mean, that was super subtle.
I mean,
like,
look at
stuff.
Juga, fuck's sake.
Yeah, I mean, other than the fact that he's basically just like a bootleg version of Ultimate Kuga, I mean, that doesn't really have anything to do with it. It's just like, oh, here it is. Oh, here's some old writer references.
Yeah,
I'm glad that they didn't end up really like. Despite this being an anniversary, I'm glad they kind of went like the Forza route.
I was about
to
say, yeah.
Spirit, and they didn't like play it the fuck up like say Zio did. There was a big dumb crossover fest. Like, as much as I kept memeing Gifu is going to be the great leader into trying to happen, I'm glad that they didn't do it, because that would have really
it would have been stupid. I'm surprised we didn't even talk about Gifu, but there's nothing to talk about with him anyways.
They kind of wasted him, which is like, it's weird, because from the moment he showed up and the moment he first got his form, he was a really fucking intimidating, interesting villain, because he just was there. He was just evil incarnate, and he was just there manipulating everything and everyone.
I know we make the joke, but he was literally just Satan.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but then when he starts actually getting involved in fights, he's just like the biggest fucking jobber constantly. Literally every episode he gets his ass kicked. And then he just comes back the next week, and
he's
like
okay, fucking Seymour
whatever.
from Final Fantasy X. That's a deep cut.
Come on, be nice.
No. Come on, bro. Every time he kicked his ass, I will come back for Yuna and show you my penis.
At least Gifu had a better voice actor.
Actually, the voice acting was really good.
And a better design. Yeah, they had fucking cars doing the voice.
Masumi was. I loved Masumi's voice actor.
Honestly, dude, when I saw George's dad out of the mask, I was like, "What the fuck is that, Alteca? What the fuck?" To be fair,
what in the flashback?
Yeah.
No, it would be funny if it was.
Right?
No,
I was like, what the fuck?
That's Ultraman X, actually, which is weird that he's like the only. Okay, no, fucking Yellow from Q Ranger was a random villain of the week, but other than that, those two
Beat
were
Buster
like
was here too.
Was he? That's
Remember,
right,
Beat Buster was here. He was
in
there.
the same episode as Q Ranger's Yellow.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Dude,
I forgot about that.
I remember because you were the one who mentioned, oh yeah, Beat Buster's here because his sidekick is wearing Banjo's jacket.
Yeah.
That was so weird, dude. The entire fucking episode was fucking weird.
Really?
Honestly, to be fair, when I first saw
character episode?
What? No.
No. Oh no. That was a fucking great episode too, where they had Subaru Kimura show up.
What the
as himself.
fuck was that?
I don't know what the fuck they were smoking.
I swear, Kimura was just like, I need to be on screen at least once.
But then we've got Lovekov's voice actress shows up as herself.
Wait, where?
Ryo Horika. What?
Where?
In the voice acting episode.
Wait, what?
Oh, that's right, the girl.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
She was the chick hanging around Ryo Horikawa.
I didn't even know.
Oh.
Yeah, so we've got Vegeta showing up.
Yeah.
Hiroshi Kamiya shows up. I guess they let him out of the fucking basement finally. And God, I forgot who the other one was, but they had another big name voice actor show up.
Frieza.
But that episode was so fucking random. It was so good though.
See, that episode was weird.
For no reason.
That episode was weird because it starts off like being about soccer, and then it comes about voice acting. I'm like, what the fuck do these two have in common? It felt like a Family Guy setup.
Did.
We 7 minutes of soccer, and then we get to the main plot.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was a surprisingly entertaining episode.
That was so weird.
It was so weird. It was so weird.
Yeah, but
yeah. Back
to
to the point I was
Ultraman
trying to
X.
make is that I'm glad that they didn't make this like a crossover show.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they just had like the writers existed, and that's about it. They didn't try to do crossover stuff. They didn't try to do anything like that.
Well, it's like you said, even then, like, we don't even really know how they were going to cross over, because, like, again, I've heard multiple different things, like, all the writers up to now have existed in this world, or all of them are just a TV show. I remember one theory that I saw, which is bullshit because you see the merchandise in the show, was like, oh, the writers are just like stories that George's dad told him when he was a kid. Which would be kind of funny because then you think about it, George would have had to make all of those toys himself.
He would have.
I mean, he's a scientist, I guess.
He would. Yeah.
But yeah, so Gifu, Bifu, Wifu, Difu aside, just suits are good.
Honestly, one thing is that Revice, Iki and Vice's fighting styles were really unique. It was a lot of like hardcore wrestling, pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Like you had Vice busting out like lariats and
Kaniku busters.
suplexes and ankle bust. Honestly, I'm so mad that nobody pulled a muscle buster.
They did. What the fuck?
When did they do that?
You don't remember when he pulled out the Kaniku buster?
No, I don't.
Hold on,
remember when they
I
did
think
the
I even
Kaniku
took
buster.
a screenshot of him doing the Kaniku. He dead ass did a Kaniku buster because it was. I remember it was funny because when he did it, the mook was so obviously like just a fucking like fake doll, because you can't do the Kaniku buster on a real person.
No.
Where the fuck is this screenshot? I'm gonna have to find this screenshot and show it to you later because I can't see.
No, I genuinely don't remember it. I genuinely do not.
Oh my god.
But no, yeah, I really love the pro wrestling shit they had going on, and it worked with their tag team duo combo stuff too. Aesthetically, the show had a really good aesthetic. You'd think with all the garish, bright costumes, it would be like hard to. Honestly, no. Again, like the costumes were surprisingly way better than they should have been, with all the colors and the designs and everything.
A lot of very different kinds of colors too.
Oh yeah, like we had like Revice was all like pastels and really like bright stuff. Like Live and Evil were such really weird color combos. Like you had like black and teal, and like that should not have gone as well as it did. And you had Sakura, who's super saturated blue and orange, which again should not have worked as well as it did.
But it did.
Demons, who was basically just edgy Spider-Man. Which is, of course, is still one of the best suits we've had in quite some time. I think a lot of, like, other than, like, I think once they start getting into, like, the kip-ass shit near the end that's when they start to lose it. I think, like, like Veil is probably the last, like, good suit they had, other than, like Ultimate Revice.
I didn't like Deathstream's costume.
Deathstream's is it's the problem that the Sakura almost had with the overly saturated colors. I think they had the wrong color combo.
Yeah.
I think the hyper saturated blues and reds, they just clashed.
I just didn't.
That and all the silver.
I just
too.
didn't like the.
Oh, that's right. Yes, he did. Oh, I fucking forgot.
I just didn't like the hell. I just didn't like the chest piece because it just jutted out, and it was, and it just didn't feel right.
Well, I was going to mention, like, I do like the desaturated pink that they use for Revi or Revice, whatever. I don't give a fuck anymore. I love it.
Pastel. Pastel would be the term.
The pastel.
Yes.
We have a color expert on this podcast.
Yes.
Anyways,
it's almost like an artist of some kind.
Anyways, but yeah, I do like it. I like all the colors. I like all these suits, except for honestly, Aguilera's was kind of gick. I didn't really like that one. I think it's the face. It looks too much like a fucking Necrom, like one of the Necroms. And it pissed me off. The Mook Riders, obviously, but for the most part, they were fine. Music was also pretty good. It was kind of eclectic, but it was actually pretty nice. I liked it.
Music was really good. Again, compared to O's, it captured that same vibe, mostly because it was that same composer. So, which is good. He did a really good job there. Everything all really stood out. All the music stood out in this show, which is good. Like I remember, like pretty much every track. Nothing really felt generic. Yeah,
I remember that one.
Or the sick guitar riff one for like every single fight.
Yeah. I know we don't usually talk about it, but I'm going to say it now. I like most of the inserts.
Yeah, the inserts are good.
Aguilera's can go fuck itself. So, well, actually, that's not even an insert because they never played it in the show.
That's true.
Well, you know what? Vice's insert is fucking gick. What the fuck is that, dude? God, that sucked ass.
Yeah, that one was a miss. Honestly, I wasn't hot on really any of the inserts. I thought they're fine, but I'm kind of. This is one of the one times I'm glad they didn't really play the inserts.
You were kind of a mark for Volcano, though.
That one was really good, yeah. But at the same time, the rest of them were I don't know.
You don't like Sakura and Lovekov going fucking schizo?
I mean, that one was fun, but that one was not one where I would listen to this while watching a show. That one was music to scare the hoes. That is not fancy.
You play it outside your apartment just to scare people.
Yeah,
you're hearing noises in your head.
I play that with the other schizophrenic punk rock that I listen to.
Honestly, I didn't mind a lot of the inserts. I like Volcano. Mirage Mirror is alright. It's whatever. Cherryish is kind of fucking weird and schizo, and I like it. Then for the two that were played outside of it, George it's literally just Kamen Rider Getter, which is hilarious. Even somebody mentioned this to me, and I kind of liked it. Kamen Rider, the song that George sings, the Kamen Rider Getter, it sounds like somebody made that in their closet as a fan. It has that kind of production quality, and the way he's singing it super off key. I'm like, kind of. It's actually kind of funny.
Oh yeah.
Aguilera's whatever. I don't go fuck. I did like the Deathstream versus Veil one, which is just the Veil theme, only sung by the mom by herself. And I actually really liked the song that played that was just Iki singing about Vice and how he's gay for him. That was a nice
true.
one. That's a nice little song.
That one was good too. Yeah.
Besides that, honestly, guys, I think we're fucking done. I think we can just give our final thoughts. So, Jay.
Well, I'll see this to start.
Oh no.
Revice is the best of Reiwa we've had so far, which I know is not saying a whole lot considering we've had 3 shows and one of them was Saber. Overall, I think Revice is going to be one that's really solid, but probably won't be in anybody's top 3s, top 5s in a couple of years. I think once this is a very solid show, but it's got a lot of problems with it, and it's got a lot of divisiveness to it, where I don't think it's going to end up being as remembered as fondly as some other shows. But at the same time, I really enjoyed watching it from week to week. I really grew on the cast, and despite my many hang-ups with most of the cast members, I think everybody was pretty memorable to a significant degree. Even if they all kind of at one point or another kind of fell off in terms of relevance, I can at least remember 1 or 2 moments with basically every character where they shone through and they really had a fun, entertaining moment.
Next would be Felipe.
Honestly, I really enjoyed watching Revice. It was obviously. I mean, obviously, when you go to Saber, you can only keep going up, and it went up. It had problems. Revice had problems. Every show has problems, but it was fun. It's a nice show to watch. It's got great action. It's got an intriguing protagonist. I like the costumes. I really do. Especially like Sakura's costume, and I do like some of Revice's costumes. I do like. I can't stand some of the jingles for some of the Vice Sam stuff. That's just a nitpick, but it was a good show. I'll say, you know what? Out of all of the Reiwa series that has gone on so far, before seeing Geats, this one is pretty up there because 01 had problems. I would rank as Revice, 01, and then Saber.
That's not saying much, honestly.
I mean, again, that's the problem when we've only had
Yeah.
3 shows of this era to compare to. But yeah.
Yeah. No, it's my turn, right? Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
How am I gonna say this? Because this is I have to be very careful with how I'm gonna say this. I liked Revice. I did. I really did like it. And I don't know how this is gonna play to the crowd. But it's the best writer show since I don't know if I don't know if I want to say X-Aid or Forze. I don't know. Because I did like X-Aid. I did. But I don't know. It's weird. Like, this show is so fucking weird in the sense that there's a lot of things that I like about it and a lot of things I hate about it. Well, no, one thing I hate about it, and his name's fucking Daiji. And I don't know, it's weird. I would say if I were to like put it like how I usually do with my ranking, I'm gonna kind of go with Jay and say it's not really gonna, it's good, it's solid, but it's not gonna be anybody's top 10. I would put it solid B minus maybe on a bad day. I think that's fair. Maybe that's a little too high, but I think that's fair. I don't know. I'm gonna say it's a B. I'm gonna say it's like a B minus, but like the high end, like basically like a 79. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna say I think that's fair. Compared to what we've seen on the show, I think that's fair. I think
I'd put him a tiny couple points higher, but I think that's a pretty fair
like 82, like a B minus basically.
Like an 85 probably.
Oh, like a solid B.
Like a solid B, maybe a B plus depending on the story arc. Yeah,
I wouldn't say B plus. I don't think I would go any higher than a B, because B plus, that's when you're trying to get into like, for me at least, you're trying to get into like double territory, and I don't know if I would put this above double. I don't think I would do that. But yeah, that's it, boys. We did it. We did it,
boys.
So
now that you're gone.
So, here's a question for you guys. So we can, as we usually do, we can do what we're supposed to do, which is Ninja Steel. Or we could try our fucking luck.
Just do Ninja Steel. Let's just rip that Band-Aid off.
I don't want to fucking do Ninja
Just
Steel,
rip
but
the
I know if we
Band-Aid
risk
off.
it.
You sure? We can do
Jay,
it.
be quiet.
I'm just saying. We can do it.
Just rip the goddamn Band-Aid off.
Just saying. We can do it.
Oh, God. Okay, depends. If we do Ninja Steel, do we have to do both seasons, or do we?
No, we're doing all of it, motherfucker.
God, fuck.
Couldn't
damn,
we just do first season of Ninja Steel?
No, hell no, we're not doing that.
AJ, trust me when I say this.
No.
Somebody on the episode before I said spin the wheel. Fuck.
Oh, you said spin the wheel.
No,
Okay,
don't
spin the
do
wheel.
spin
Shit.
that wheel.
Spinning wheel.
No, we're doing Ninja Steel. We are.
No, I'm spinning it. Spinning.
Jay, I hate
Damn
you.
it.
Look at it go. Look at it go.
I'm
Spinny,
weak,
spinny.
okay?
Jay,
Spinny.
You
Spin the
just
wheel.
needed to rip
Spinny,
that
spin
goddamn
the wheel.
Band-Aid off.
Spin the wheel. Spin the wheel.
It's so hard to
I
resist
try
the
so
mystery
hard.
box.
You're talking to the guy who watched Ninja Steel. Trust me.
I tried
Why do you
so
want us to
hard.
watch it again?
I got so
Yeah, trust
far.
me. I want to get it over with because it's so stupid.
Oh no, it's Ghost.
I'm not watching Ghost. I swear, I'm not.
But the mystery wheel could be anything.
It can even be a mystery.
Just, if Chad were here, he'd support me.
No, he wouldn't.
Yes, he would.
Chad believes in chaos theory.
Hey.
Okay.
What's wrong with chaos theory?
Well, Jay.
Oh God, I've done
The
something
wheel
bad.
has
Really
chosen.
You really did.
It's either chosen the same show somehow, or we've done something worse. And I can't decide
Oh
which
my
is the
god,
worst
it's Ghost again.
Ghost
No,
for the
I'm not
seventh
doing
fucking
Ghost.
time.
Well, we're to be fair, I took Ghost off the wheel because we're doing that for episode 200.
Okay.
That's the thing. We're doing it for 200. I don't even remember what episode number is this, anyways.
I don't even know. It's supposed to be your job
Yeah.
to keep track.
Fuck you! I don't keep track of this shit. I only make this show. I don't keep track of it.
Any
That's
of our
true.
fans know what...
We should pay somebody to do that. Oh wait, no, that would require having money.
If you want to keep track of our shit,
We'll pay you a penny.
actually, yeah, I probably would pay you a penny, but only a penny, because anything else, it's just too much money, bro. Too much money.
Yeah,
Not in the budget.
too rich for my blood.
Yeah, it's not in the budget, guys. Come on, you really, guys, you're gonna do this to us? It's just not in the budget. So, you guys want to see what we got on the wheel?
If it's something worse, Jay,
Fuck
I'm
it.
gonna
If you
kill
if you spun it, you might as
Jay,
well.
I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Actually, how long?
I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna kill me too.
I'm gonna go.
wonder how long
I'm gonna
I-
go. I'm gonna take the Amtrak and I'm gonna come up there and I'm gonna beat the crap out of you if this is bad.
I'm just gonna give you my gun, to be entirely honest. If this
I
it comes
wouldn't
to
go
that.
that
Okay.
far. I
How
would
long
let it be
is this
slow
show?
and painful.
How long is this show?
Who said you had to shoot me? I can't afford bullets.
Right?
Kidding me? I spent all my money on the gun itself. I couldn't
You
afford
really
ammo.
want me to pistol whip you?
Non-profit organization? What the fuck? Why is
Listen.
there a company called this?
Oh no! What is it?
Oh, that's always a good
Oh,
sign.
fucking
Anyways, how many episodes is this? I forget. It better not be 50. If not, you can go kill yourself. Oh my god, it is 50.
That's what we were just discussing.
Please don't tell me it's 50 episodes.
I'm not doing this.
Please don't tell me. Please don't tell me it's 50 episodes. Come on, load up, please. Episodes? Yes, episodes. Here it is. Wow, thanks, Google. Oh, it's only 48. Okay.
Oh, that's marginally better, I guess.
I can't do this.
All right.
Well,
Probably
boys
another
and
ro-
girls.
What the fuck
Sounds
are we
like another
doing?
Rider series.
Well, boys and
It
girls.
wouldn't have taken AJ that long to
Just
figure out the
show
episode
it.
count if it was.
Well, boys and well, I will say this. We've gone from demons to vampires.
Oh, fuck.
We're going back to the Inoue train, baby.
Actually,
No.
I'm gonna be honest. This is good. 'cause-
I know you like it because you have shit taste.
No. Because the last time we did Kiva, I actually didn't watch it. I went off the knowledge that I had from the last time I had watched it, which had been like 3 years prior. So I really do need a refresher with this.
Actually, wait. Now that you say it, Phil, I think there might be new subs for this. Actually,
Might be better subs.
Last I checked, I think
I
there
had
was.
TV.
Ah.
I used TV Nihon.
Oh, there's definitely been a redone version that's not
All
TV.
right.
yeah.
AJ made it out to be worse, but Kiva I can deal with.
Look, it was either Kiva or Hibiki. I'm just kidding. We already did Hibiki.
I can't. Believe me, I got bored with Hibiki.
Yeah, because you shit.
You're shit.
Yeah.
You both.
Anyways, next time.
Fuck it. I'll take fucking Kiva over Ninja Steel. God damn it.
I think they're about basically the same length. Anyways, I think they're both like 40-something episodes.
Jay, I told you to just rip the Band-Aid off, but you don't listen to me.
But Kiva's funny.
I didn't want to spin the wheel, but I didn't want to fucking watch Ninja Steel.
What?
Trust
Okay,
me.
let's be honest. What could be worse than Kiva? Ghost. We didn't get Ghost.
At least with Ninja Steel, you can skip over episodes because it's all filler.
What am I, a fucking coward? I'm not gonna skip episodes. In
Jay,
something
I
we're
fucking watched the
reviewing.
Ninja Steel. Trust me, it's all fucking filler.
So Phil is
Then
weak.
why are we going to bother with watching it?
Because it would have made it
Then
shorter.
solved.
if it's all filler, then none of it matters. Then I can just watch one episode and the last episode.
That's what I said.
Exactly.
But I'm not going to do that because fuck you. We're doing Kiva. Have fun, motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you guys.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.